Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. You might be thinking, why is Az a Simpsons avatar? It's because 20 minutes before the stream started, my webcam has decided to just not work and I can't get it working. But I thought the show must go on anyway, and everyone wants to look at Neil regardless. How are you, Neil?
I'm all right, yeah, not too bad. As I know we've got a lot to get through, so I'll crack on with the team news. I'm going to try and do it, cut it down to 15 minutes from the usual half
Oh,
an hour
yep.
this week. So that's
I
it's easier said than done with
haven't
me.
got any graphics to help us out, so
That's
it's
usually
all on you. Yeah, we've got
okay.
six guests today, all sort of dropping in at different times. And hopefully they won't have any problems with the webcam and you'll be able to see them. But yeah, unfortunately, you can't see me. But Neil, right, what have we got? We've got an hour and 24 minutes until the deadline.
Yeah.
I don't know what, I haven't made my moves yet. Have you made yours?
No, I'm thinking at this moment in time, a Lacazette to Antonio, and I know Antonio's sort of flattered to see with his underlying numbers and his goal scoring, but there's a real dearth of forward options this week, especially with Arsenal being without a fixture. Certainly in that mid-price bracket as well. Wilson's now injured, it looks like, so we don't know if Everton's fixture is going ahead. So I'm thinking I'm in a pretty good place. I've got 11 out
Mm.
at the moment, but I
And
suspect I
Salah.
might need it, and including Salah, yeah,
Yeah.
Salah captain. Pookie is my 11th man. I don't really want to play him, but I think I probably will need a substitute this week. Given the rumours flying around about people not being seen in training and then the quick
Mm.
turnaround. So I think it's going to be Lacazette to Antonio.
Lacazette. So that'll give you 11. And who's on your bench?
It'll just be Pookie as me sort of 12th man.
Go on, Pookie.
I don't know why I don't know why I even moved for him in the first place, but there he is, stinking up my bench.
Delph? You still got Delph?
Delph's gone.
Oh
Delph's
no.
yeah. I've there's no visible signs of my game week 5 wildcard left. I think the disastrous wildcard with Moutinho and Delph and various other complete mistakes, but yeah, we've rectified that now.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, your team's on the screen. I think you're looking pretty good, to be fair. I'm a little bit jealous. I mean, obviously, I haven't got Salah captain, so that's just going to be just awful today.
Yeah, it's funny how it's worked out. I mean, because I went for the Salah to Son move at 128 on Boxing Day, and then obviously got timed out. Bit of damage done, of course, with Son, but it could have been a lot worse. And I get Salah back, and I got 2 free transfers, so I'll probably be moving for Son on New Year's Day anyway. So it was just a day of execution for Salah and my team for one game week really.
Yep.
But I'm pleased I've got him for this week with Leicester.
Yep. Absolutely. Right. Come on then, Neil. Talk to me. Team news. What have we got? Anything of note that people need to know ahead of the deadline?
Yeah, so I'll kind of go through it as quickly as I can. We've had only 3 pre-match press conferences in terms of bespoke ones for Game Week 20, and they were all yesterday. We've got another one coming up at 1:15, which is absolutely no help. That's Dyche for Burnley. He's the only one today. So yesterday we heard from Klopp, Conte, and Thomas Frank. So I'll start with those 3. Um, uh, Liverpool are fine by the looks of it. Of course, things can change with COVID test on the morning of a game, but they've got their 4 players back from COVID. That's Van Dijk, Thiago, Fabinho, and Curtis Jones. Robertson suspended, and we've heard nothing new on the injuries. The likes of Origi and Elliott, but they're obviously peripheral players. So you think probably full strength with Leicester, with maybe Thiago not risked, because Thiago was the last of them back. Otherwise, Liverpool's looking very good. Spurs, similar really. Romero Sessegnon, the only injury doubts, or injury absentees, I should say. Lo Celso was a doubt. He was not risked as a precaution against who they're playing Palace on Boxing Day because of calf trouble. Conte did suggest that he wanted to freshen things up a bit, but didn't want to lose that identity that he's got. He took Kane and Son off on Boxing Day, so hopefully that's with one eye on this fixture. He certainly suggested that was the case for Kane, who he said he just can't really bench at the moment. But you would expect a few changes maybe. Brentford, who's the other manager we've heard from, they've got a couple of new additions to the injury list. So Rico Henry, who we thought had a minor hamstring problem, missed out on Boxing Day. He's going to miss out again here. Mbumu's out as well, or very likely to be out, according to Thomas
Mm.
Frank. Said it seemed like it wasn't going to recover in time for this one. Norgard suspended. Obviously, Janelle's got COVID as well, on top of the injuries to De Silva, Fosu Henry, Charlie Good, Zanka, people like that. They're all still out. So they really are down to the bare bones. They haven't got more than 3 centre halves, and they're without a defensive midfielder as well. So this is a really good fixture for Man City.
Ooh, don't say that. I've got Foden captain at the moment.
Have you?
I have.
Yeah, well, I've got him, and I'm playing him, and I think this could be another. It's a great time to play Brentford. Really, it's especially with Man City in such goal scoring form. Obviously, we don't know who's going to start for City, but this is low key a very good matchup. I think, given Norgard and Janelta out, especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just think surely, with Grealish, we're not too sure about because he didn't come on, so he
Yeah,
might still
yeah.
be in the doghouse a bit. But Foden, with the minutes coming on, you got to think he's going to start this one.
Yeah, that's what I've mentioned in the team news, that you'd hope that that's a sign that the tension is over, and that he was allowed on the pitch on Boxing Day. Yes, you're right about Grealish. We're not sure if he comes back into it, but we'll segue straight into Man City. We'll segue into the rest of the team news. The other 13 teams. So Man City, Torres is again the only person we know is definitely out, but it looks likely that Walker, Rodri, and Stones are going to follow suit, because they were described either as not fully fit or injured after the Leicester game. They missed that one, and they haven't been seen on the training grounds since. So we're suggesting those three are out as well. Also not on the training ground were Cancelo and Zinchenko. So that's a slight concern going into this. Hopefully my reading of this is that because they're the only two fullbacks Man City you've got, then maybe Pep was protecting them from any unnecessary injuries or overload. Cancelo wasn't spotted in training ahead of Gameweek 19 either, so hopefully that's what's happened.
Don't say
But
that.
but you never know. So I'll sort of share that information, because that is fact. That's come from Manchester Evening News, and obviously though, just because they're not cited there doesn't mean they're not there or they're not going to be involved. So yeah, I think that's it pretty much from a Man City team news perspective. I'll go through the rest of them alphabetically in terms of who's playing. So Brighton, who are we at Chelsea, they are still without Dunk and Sarmiento. Beltman, no update on him. From Potter, who he'd had muscle fatigue. Trossard is a fresh concern with a hamstring strain. Potter again suggesting that he's hoping it wasn't too serious, but he was withdrawn at half time on Boxing Day because of tightness in his hamstring. Duffy is also seemingly out. Potter wouldn't say whether it was COVID or an injury, but the implication was that it's COVID, so wouldn't be expecting him back for this. Burnley, again, we get to hear from Dyche. He'll be speaking in about an hour's time, but I don't suppose many people will be that interested. When we last faced the media, that was last Thursday. Barnes and Roberts were still out. Cornier was still touch and go. He hadn't rejoined team training as of, I think, the 23rd, so he might have been back in since, but obviously still it out. And I think Bardsley was, Dale Stevens was back in and around it after COVID. Chelsea website seemed to imply that Thiago and Kante weren't going to recover from this. Tuchel confirmed that they had injuries after Boxing Day, but didn't really elaborate on their availability for this. But the Chelsea website, if we take them at the word, suggests they're not going to be involved. Chilwell's out for the season. I've just read this online. I've just broken in the last couple of minutes. He's obviously, we knew he was going to be out for this, but it looks like he's out for the rest of the season as well. Yeah, so Alonso's obviously now a better longer-term pick, unless they go for someone in January, which I would suggest they probably will do.
Oh, wow, that is massive news. I thought he was back sort of relatively soon.
It was either going to be relatively soon or end of the season. They were going to
Wow.
keep assessing him and seeing if he needed surgery, and it looks like he needs surgery. For the rest of Chelsea, Loftus-Cheek we're not sure about. He missed out the last 3 in League and Cup with either ankle pain or rumours of COVID as well. Werner and Havertz were also affected by illness. Havertz has been back on the training ground, so he might be in contention. I'll suggest more for a place on the bench. Then start. I think that's it from Chelsea. Everton, it's a funny one because we don't really know. We haven't heard from Benitez. We know that as of game week 19, they had 6 players injured and 5 hit by COVID. We didn't know names other than pre-existing injuries like Mina and Richarlison, Townsend, people like that. Gray, we think, could be back for this one because he was missing from, I think, game week 17, and suggestions there were that it was COVID. But I think this might all be rendered meaningless anyway, because I do suspect this one might fall by the wayside, the Everton game, because of Newcastle as much as anything else, and we'll come on to Newcastle in a second. Just going back to Crystal Palace, I skipped over them. Now this is interesting because we've had a man in the scout picks by the looks of it. We were operating under the assumption that none of the players hit by COVID or injury on Boxing Day were going to be back. Again, Vieira hasn't had a press conference, so we were in the dark. We've just seen some leaks. Now, these are only leaks and haven't been confirmed, but from people, forum posters who've had success before, suggesting that White is back for this, and that Gallagher might be one of those freshly hit by COVID. Now, again, this is just pure rumour at this stage. I shouldn't say this is anything confirmed. Check this out for yourself. But we've gone with Butland and Gallagher on the scout picks, and looks like neither might play. He's an absolute mare. Zaha suspended. MacArthur was injured with hamstring problems, but the players who were sidelined on Boxing Day, and we didn't get confirmation of who the COVID cases were Benteke, Alicia, Eze, Whiter, who could be back now, Klein, Milivojevic, and the aforementioned MacArthur, who was obviously injured. So that group, the bulk of them will be COVID cases. 1 or 2 may return.
It's the same source who got the Guaita injury right when he was on the bench.
Yeah, so we wouldn't just report any old baseless rumor from internet. This fella is has been on the money before, so I thought I'd mention it. But yeah, the scout picks, so we've had an absolute nightmare there. Leicester, they are very badly hit. Out of this are Ricardo, Barnes, Daka, Fofana, Soyuncu, Ward. We think Justin is still not match fit enough. We also think Burton and Evans are going to struggle for this one as well. So they are really badly hit. They have got Vardy and Ndidi available to play. Rodgers confirmed that they were both on the bench on Boxing Day, but they should come back into this one. Liverpool we've covered. Man City we've covered. United, who were in action last night. So again, we won't hear from Rangnick until probably Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday it'll be. They were without Pogba last night, and they were also without Lindelof, who was a fresh COVID case. They'll also be without Bruno Fernandes in game week 20 because he's picked up his 5th booking of the season, and he'll be sidelined for this. McTominay looked like he was limping at the end as well, but that's the only fresh injury concern that we know about. Newcastle, as I mentioned before, I mean, they are in real bad shape, and Howe was indicating last night that they're at the threshold of a postponement. So I don't know anything. I'm not an insider, but I suspect Newcastle might suddenly find themselves with 1 or 2 more injuries in the next couple of days to get this game off. Because we already knew about Dummett, Fernandes and Lewis injuries. 4 players missed out last night because of COVID or injury, and they were Clark, Darlow, Ritchie and Willock. On top of that, St Maximum and Wilson have picked up injuries last night, and they're out by the looks of things. Mankiw is now banned. He's picked up his 5th yellow card. So we were already down to 8 subs last night with 2 goalkeepers and 2 rookies. And then if you take another 3 out of that, then it's right on the edge of that fixture. So I would leave well alone if you're thinking about players from either club. Norwich, I believe Tom's covered this one. I don't think they're expecting anyone back from their COVID cases. So it'll be a similar group of players. Krul was the latest one to test positive for COVID. Again, I think no one will be too bothered about Norwich's starting 11 in terms of fantasy assets. These are one of the 5 clubs who've got a 48-hour turnaround, so we're expecting some sort of rotation in their starting 11. Southampton, McCarthy's out still. Lianco and Stevens, they've both got COVID. So too did Nathan Teller, but he's back for this, and he'll probably be on the bench at best, according to Hasenhüttl, who was one of the few who mentioned the fact that he would probably rotate a bit, if not making wholesale changes. So they've got the likes of Armstrong and Adams fit again. They've got Stuart Armstrong back as well. They've got Diallo could come in as well. So I think there'll be maybe 4 or 5 changes there. Brewer, who's excellent at the moment, he could miss out here only because of the turnaround, the 48-hour turnaround, nothing to do with his form. Obviously, longer term, he's a great pick. Spurs, we've covered, I think we have. Yes, we have. Watford, we're really in the dark about this one. We know about injuries. So, Etebo, Foster, Kabasele, Nkulu, Ismail Assar, and I think that's it, are all out still. Foster's nearing a return to training, if you've still got him. Sierralta's been past fit as well. We assume Messina's fit because he was close to a return, I think, in mid-December, and they've obviously not been without a game since then. But they did say yesterday in a medical bulletin that they were welcoming back a lot of the players who originally tested positive for COVID, but that they've now got some fresh cases. So we don't know who either.
Oh my God.
Either one. Oh yeah, it's a right mess at this time of year. At the best of times, the rotation in COVID is making it very, very hard. West Ham, Cresswell, we're still not sure about. He's been close to return for the best part of 3 weeks. Still hasn't played with back issues. Zuma and Agbara obviously out. Declan Rice will be missing here as well. He's picked up his 50th yellow card of the season, so he's out. And I guess it's now, again, with the 48-hour turnaround as how Moyes manages his minutes. One player you would expect to come back in for this is Antonio, because he was only a substitute on Boxing Day. He recovered from COVID, so I can understand why he was benched. He got 45 minutes and scored, so I think he probably comes back in for this one.
And Ben Johnson.
And I think that's it. Johnson, yeah, I've put him in the predicted lineups because Masuaku started the last 2 in League and Cup, and they have been, 4 days apart, January 22nd, 26th. They're playing again today, so if only for minute management. And Moyes did a similar thing last season when the 2 Christmas games were separated by 48 hours. He made, I think, 5 changes then, and he normally sticks to the settled side. So I think he will freshen things up. I think there's no doubt about that. Johnson being one of the options to come in because he wasn't involved in Gameweek 19.
Amazing stuff. Wow, you flew through that, Neil.
Yeah, I should do that every week, shouldn't I? To stop people
I mean, there's some bit. I mean, the Chilwell news I think is particularly interesting. Out for the season. I had no idea about that, and obviously the Gallagher rumours. I don't think that's helped me in any way. That team is very informative, but I think I'm even more confused with what I'm going to do with my team now. It is a minefield, isn't it? It's so difficult to know who's going to start this week on the best of times, let alone with all these different things going on.
And then with the anonymity thing with COVID, you really
Absolutely.
are. I mean, the luck factor is even more in play at this time of year now. So if your rank fluctuates wildly during this period, it's probably nothing to do with you. It's down to chaos and chance.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. That means a lot after I got about 150%
Only FPL
decrease.
Website. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I've got my next guest waiting, so I'm going to say thank you very much, Neil. Predicted lineups over on Scout. FantasyFootballScout.co.uk. Head over there. You can see who Neil's predicting to start. I know a lot of people are wondering about things like Spurs and City and who's going to play. So Neil's got his best guesses over there. If you're enjoying the stream so far, and we've got 1,000 people watching, like the stream. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And Neil, I'm going to boot you out now and get my next guest in.
Okie dokie, no problem. I'll see you soon, Az.
Thanks very much.
See
you soon.
Good luck.
Right, now this is going to be interesting because I haven't actually done a stream like this where I've had people sort of coming in and out. So hopefully we have Pras in the waiting room. We do have Pras, and he's straight in. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Az. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm afraid you won't be able to see me. I've been having a few technical issues.
That's okay. I've been following Neil's excellent team news just now, so we can see the Simpsons Az.
It is, yeah. Simpsons Az is here. Yeah, Neil is excellent as always. It's a tough act to follow, Pras, but if anyone can do it.
It is indeed. It is indeed. I bring no new news, by the way, just for anyone watching.
That is fine. How are you doing? Are you setting up for for the deadline? Are you prepared?
I am prepared, although I was one of those who sold Salah for Ronaldo and had the absolute most awful evening possible because we were actually out for some Christmas thing, and I got the whole family back because I said, look, I've got Ronaldo captain, I've got Dallo, and this is going to be it. This is going to be my comeback. and it was the worst possible outcome. So trying not to tilt, because I think what you do after a bad game week kind of
Mm.
determines how it goes. So I had my moves planned before the Ronaldo game, and I'm hopefully sticking to it. So we'll talk about that.
We will, yeah. I've got your team, which we'll go through in a second. I just want to pay homage to you. You've been brilliant doing the videos for Scout with Snaldo as well, who unfortunately has come down with COVID, so he's been out of action for the last few days. You're supposed to do a stream with him on Sunday, and obviously your burning questions yesterday, and had to kind of
Yeah.
reschedule that. But we wish him all the best. But yeah, it's been great having you both, part of Scout over the last
Uh,
month or so. It's been yeah, really strong start to your
Thanks for
streaming
having
careers.
us. Yeah, it's a great bit for me getting into content and just kind of doing more work on the team. Usually I'm one of those who's generally active on Twitter and other forums, but actually putting in the work to articulate why you're doing
Mm.
stuff helps me personally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see if the work you've put in has led you to a decent team this week.
Indeed.
So your team's on the screen. You've got no goalkeeper currently, Foster and Ramsdale, Trent, Cancelo, Reece James, Jota, Bowen, Foden, Son, King, Lacazette, Ronaldo, but two on the bench with Dallo and Davies ready to come in. So Neil had Salah. You do not have Salah. You're like
Yep.
me. How are you feeling?
Not good. You can't even hide against the fact that we're going to be punished tonight. It's fine. You just have to accept it. And I think people who are looking at going back to Salah, I think you're just kind of then locking in, the bad mistake you've made. I think might as well just now go with it.
Mm.
That's my view. Salah has Chelsea after this, and then he goes to AFCON. So, just that boat has sailed. There's no way I'm getting Salah back in. I think Ronaldo and Son are the options for the double game week. Possibly Kane now. People are looking at him as well instead of Ronaldo, but I don't think going back to Salah is an option at all for those who've gone away from him now.
Well, I think the only option you can do is free hit him back in, right? Because
That's
I,
absolutely, yeah.
I think if you've sold him, with Chelsea next, you'd think not an particularly easy game for him. This game is obviously the big concern, but I am
Exactly.
seeing people looking at, potentially selling Ronaldo back for Salah or, losing Son ahead of it to back. I mean, there's no way I'm considering doing that, but yeah, it's going to be a nasty evening tonight, isn't it?
Exactly. And when I was going through the options of who can I captain, that actually tells me that the team is looking good. I mean, I can conceivably captain Trent, James, Cancelo. I mean, even though he wasn't in training, I think he still plays. So all the three defenders are good for a captaincy if people wanted to go there. Jota, if he starts, is a good candidate. Foden, apparently Luke, who's the oracle of City lineups, thinks Foden might start. And I did hear, I think, with you and Neil that you're looking to captain him. Son is who I have my captaincy on at the moment. I'll talk about him in a second. And Ronaldo, Burnley could be as much as Man United, like in preseason form when they show up. So always Ronaldo is a good option as long as they start.
Yeah, I mean, it was really poor yesterday, wasn't it? I'm assuming you said you got the family round. You said this is going to be a big score, and then you put them through that.
Exactly.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen from Man U, particularly the first half,
I
in a long time. And I thought those days were behind them, with the new manager coming in and everything he wants them to be, counter pressing, attacking, style. They just looked. I think Neville had it right. They were just complaining all the time, weren't they? Despondent, no effort, no energy. Yeah,
yeah.
really poor.
It was one of those when it's an away game and you go behind quickly or very early. You're just basically up against it because the home team is now all energy. I mean, Newcastle were pressing like Liverpool. I mean, I was
Mm.
shocked watching them. And then, of course, it was a poor performance from United. Passing wasn't there. The pressing wasn't there. Sometimes, a lot of the problems come down to the middle on how Fred played, and McTominay didn't have a good game either. When you have two people in the middle who are just not connecting the passes, it's just such a disjointed performance. And, you can't even complain. I mean, a lot of times you say luck was against me because I went for Ronaldo. Actually, there was no chance. Ronaldo probably had two shots.
Yeah.
Dallo was lucky to end up with 2 points. United should have conceded a second goal. So can't complain at all. It wasn't luck. It was just a terrible, terrible performance.
It was, yeah, and my hopes were very much resting on that. I mean, I had my worst game week of It's my worst game week of the season. I think it might actually be one of my worst game weeks ever. I mean, I got 32 points.
Right.
And you look around, you see some of the free hit teams, and there's people with 80 points, 70, 80 points, and you think, wow. I mean, that is pretty big. I mean, did you put a free hit draft together? Were you
So
considering
this
playing
week,
it for last week?
um, I had a draft ready, but I just felt that I mean, if you look at my team now, it's got a very good bench as well. I've got Dallo and Davis on the bench, and the idea is that I'm looking for um, essentially building up a team for 22. And if I'm ready for a bench boost, then I'll go for it. And it's of course, I know that given COVID, you just never know what happens, and it's very, very risky. But I just think, given how the game week 22 fixtures are panning out, my team is looking good for a 13-14 doublers in that. And that has also affected my transfers this week. So when I was looking at the moves last week, I just felt, look, at some point, I'll want Son and Ronaldo in the team ahead of 22 if I'm not free hitting in 22. So I just thought this is the week to go for it. When you have a Salah blank, you just get Son in and you get Ronaldo in it. And Ronaldo was the best captaincy option of the week. So I just felt like the hit would pay off. Of course, given the captain blank, it hasn't. But I thought it was worth the risk. So no regrets for not free hitting personally.
No, it was just one of those weeks, wasn't it, where like all the free hit players just seemed to come in for
Yeah,
people. I know a lot of people went for players like De Bruyne and Mahrez, players that long term there's kind of question marks about their risk, but particularly Mahrez, obviously with the African Cup of Nations. But then players
yeah.
like Tierney scoring. I mean,
Lamptey, everyone did well. Yeah, everyone who people went for. Yeah, it
it
was a terrible
was,
week for us.
it was, yeah, Son
I
came,
was on
yeah.
32 as well, by the way. So yeah,
Were
we
you?
both
Oh,
had the
that does make me feel a bit better. Yeah, thank you. I
yeah
think
40 minus 8.
And then, of course, you had the problems around the deadline as well, with people putting free hit teams together and that not going through, costing them
Yeah,
points. I know quite a few content creators out there. Andy, Let's Talk Andy, for example, was doing it live on stream, and you saw his reaction as it didn't go through straight away. Lynn as well, does stuff
I
for
saw with
Scout,
Lynn.
and
It's terrible.
yeah,
She's been so unlucky with her
I
Aston
know,
Villa forwards and Davis, and yeah, it's been terrible.
I know. Well, she ended up with Ronaldo's second sub due to it all. So, I think she did get him on in the end because Davies didn't play. But yeah, that could have been a complete disaster. But yeah, it's hard. I mean, deadline's in an hour. Obviously, I think we're going to see a similar amount of traffic than we saw on Boxing Day. So this is just, I would
Absolutely.
advise people to, obviously you want to wait as long as possible to try and get as much news as you can. But I'd say, 15 to 20 minutes before is when you want to be, particularly with free hit teams, making sure they're
Yeah.
they're kind of locked in. We've had some questions, Brass, in the chat, so I'll run through some of these. Luke C has actually sent us a super chat. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate the support. Gundogan over Bernardo. So I guess there's two questions here. Firstly, if you were going to buy a City midfielder, who would you kind of advise buying? And secondly, if you had Bernardo, given they've scored something like 17 goals or something with no involvement from him whatsoever, is he a hold?
For me, absolutely, because I think let's look at it short term. The answer is obviously short term. So Rodri's out with COVID, we understand. Fernandinho played 90 minutes last game. So I reckon this is the game where Gundogan starts but plays defense mid, or some other solution where it's going to free up the midfield a little bit more. And if you think that KDB is not ready to play the whole game, you might even see Bernardo on the right center mid position where he's got all his points essentially. So I don't think this is the week to get rid of Bernardo. I don't also think it's a week to buy a City mid. I mean, they don't have likely don't have a double coming up. They've got Chelsea as well, I think, and Arsenal who've looked decent. So if you want to push me, I would say Foden is still the guy to get if you can believe that he's out of trouble. And we've had an excellent stream by Mark and Luke on discussing Foden, so I won't go more into that. But I think he's still the guy to get.
Yeah, I mean, given that he's come off the bench, this is what I was saying to Neil. You've got to think that he's less at risk than someone like Grealish. I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be too. I mean, Luke, for example, has got in his predicted lineup and both coming in, Grealish and Foden starting. De Bruyne missing out. He's played quite a few minutes over the last few weeks and had COVID himself and injury problems and all of that. So yeah, it'd be interesting. But what do you think about Gundogan? Because I mean, he scored in the last match. I guess there's some concerns with him with Rodri out. Could we see him playing in a deeper role, maybe?
That's what I feel. I think,
Mm,
especially this game, I think he'll be in the deeper position. I mean, now there's an additional caveat that if Cancelo and Walker weren't seen in training, could he go back to a 3-5-2 and then everything is open? But let's assume that everyone is okay who's been playing except for Walker maybe. So if Cancelo plays, it's a four at the back. I do see Gundogan starting, but in a very deep role. So
Mm.
for me, he wouldn't be a great option this week. But my view generally is if you have a City mate, just hold on, keep him. At some point, you will get your points. Yeah, it feels weird when they score 17 goals and you get no, for Bernardo owners, you get no attacking returns, which is a shame, but that's what you get with City, unfortunately. I mean, us Foden owners have had suffered through it over the last couple of weeks as well. But then there are weeks when we get our points. Hopefully, this is the week.
Yeah, I don't think you buy Silva. I mean, I think Foden. I still think Foden is the better option. I think it's interesting
I
with
do.
Sterling as well, kind of emerging at a time when people are going to be losing Salah, and it could he be
Yeah,
someone that people look for, and De Bruyne there as well. But I think if you have had Silva, I think you have been unlucky. I mean, I've
yeah,
seen a few times when he's played really good balls. He's still playing well. He's still getting into dangerous positions. He could have had a couple of assists. He could have had a goal, particularly like was it a week ago
sure.
or a week ago? He missed a pretty much open goal. So,
Yeah.
it's still kind of encouraging signs for him. I can see why people are getting a bit nervy, but yeah, I think you've got surely at this time you've got other priorities than selling a Man City midfielder ahead of Brentford.
Absolutely, absolutely. Keep whoever you have. But I think I agree with you. If you were to go there with Sterling, I mean he's taken two pens now. I mean, how is this that people who I don't own or you as well suddenly are on pens and are getting those pens like Mbumo, Rafinha? Now Sterling has got a couple, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is. I know. It's, it just adds to the lottery of Man City, doesn't it? Not only have you got
Exactly.
who's going to play each week, you've also got who's going to get the points because it seems to change weekly, and then
Yeah,
something even as simple as penalties can depend on
indeed.
who wins it and who's on the pitch and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is a nightmare. One more question. Joel Ekinen, Bernardo to Salah and Ronaldo to Antonio for a -4. So basically bringing in Salah and Antonio, taking Ronaldo out. So this is an example of someone who's obviously bought in Ronaldo and is looking to sell them on for Salah. I'm taking Ronaldo out for a -4 feel at home to Burnley, and that feels knee jerk, doesn't it?
It does, and unless there is a plan to free hit in then 22, what are you going to do with Salah when he blanks for AFCON? I just don't like it at all. I mean, that's what we talked about initially. If you've taken Salah out, just do something else. Watch a movie at 8 o'clock, and just take the points on the chin. He's going to score with anything from 10 to 20 points. But then we were all expecting this from Ronaldo as well. You
Mm.
just never know. So you just have to kind of accept the decision. Taking him in and out is another 4 points. Taking him back out, another 4 points, or at least you're wasting two transfers. Not worth it.
No, I don't think so. Because you're going to have a decision to make with Salah again, and you couldn't if Ronaldo does score against Burnley, he might be the player you want to bring back in. And I've got experience of this. I mean, this season I've been sort of hokey cokeying in these premium options, taking one out, taking one back, trying to hit these big holes, and it can be unpredictable at
Yeah.
times. And I think when we took Salah out, we knew this week was going to be tough. And I honestly think if
Indeed.
you're not going to free hit, you don't bring him back. You stick
There
with
was one
Ronaldo.
example I saw on Twitter where somebody had Lacazette and another 8 million mid, and they could turn them into Salah,
Mm,
and then Salah becomes Son the next week. That would be the only specific case where I
okay.
can see a case for getting Salah for a week and then shifting back to Son. But I think otherwise, yeah, I agree with you fully.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Lacazette is. Yeah, I can see that as well. To be fair, but no, I definitely wouldn't be. If you're thinking of shipping out Son or Ronaldo to get Salah back, I just think don't. We're going to regret saying that, aren't we, when Salah goes berserk.
Of course we will.
We got one more super chat, and then I'm going to get our next guest in. This is from
Sure.
Miena Sidom. Hi, Miena. Ramsdale to De Gea, or take a hit to do Watkins and Saka for Jota and a 6-1 striker. Oh, I love this kind of message. It's just pure panic, isn't it? It's just, do I do this goalkeeper transfer? Do I take this hit? Do I take out all these players? I have 11 with no Salah, Livramento in it. I was in this position last week. I looked at my team. I had 10, but I thought, oh, I can get 10 out this week. I don't need to free hit. But one of them was Ben Johnson, who didn't play. One of them was Livramento. You kind of can maybe get a bit excited when you've got 11 and then they're actually not any good.
Yeah.
Would you take a hit to do Watkins and Saka for? I mean, he hasn't got Jota. Jota's obviously going to be a big player for us over the next few
Jota
weeks.
could be worth the hit, I think.
Yeah, I think I would do that. I'm looking at selling my backup goalkeeper for De Gea this week as well. I'm very reluctant to sell Ramsdale, though. I know the fixtures aren't great, but He has been so
He's
good.
been great, right? Yeah, I am as well. And actually, we didn't talk about my transfer. So I'm looking at Foster to De Gea, actually. So
Yeah,
I'll have both De Gea
that's the
and
same as me.
Ramsdale.
Same as me.
And that the idea is that I'd have the two best keepers for the double. And I mean, Arsenal's double may not be the best, but I think Ramsdale is the keeper to own longer term as well. So
Yeah.
I would myself be very hesitant to downgrade or change Ramsdale to De Gea, because you just never know if the United defense continues to look poor. You've just sold the best goalkeeper
Yeah,
for the first half of the season for a dud. So yeah,
absolutely. Particularly if you've paid, 4.5, 4.6, anything under 5 million. If you paid that for Ramsdale, I still think he's gonna be the keeper this season who offers the best value.
absolutely.
Yeah. Pras, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. Good luck this
Thank you for
week.
having me. Good luck to you. And people, make your transfers 10 minutes before the deadline, not
Yes.
5.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely. Thanks a lot,
Thank you
Pras.
very much.
Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Right, I'm going to get my next guess in. Oh, it's asking me if I want to report Pras to Zoom. No, I don't want to do that. He's been very good company. Right, next guest. Let's see if this works. We should have a Karam. We do.
Hello.
Hello, my friend.
Hey, hello, hello. How are you, Az?
I'm very well. Long time no speak. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. It's nice that you are gathering all the managers without Salah, like Press, yourself, and mine, so we can cheer ourselves up before the massacre
Yeah, it's all,
this
it's all just to
evening.
make me feel better. I started with Neil and he had Salah, and I looked at it and I thought, oh,
No,
yeah, no more of them. That's
if it wasn't for the news, he would have been on.
exactly. Got to use it for his news. Get him off as quickly as possible and move on to the next
Yeah.
one. Yeah, it's a very interesting week. This one. I mean, the
Mm,
the the, the week after the kind of game week after Boxing Day is always like this because it's such a tight
yeah.
turnaround. The managers are all complaining about the workloads and the fixture
Mm.
congestion and all that kind of stuff. And you start adding in things like COVID into it, and it is an absolute minefield, isn't it? How are you feeling about it all? Are you managing the chaos
Uh,
or panic
well,
stations?
well, panic stations in the mud, dealing with all of this. It's one of those periods where I have absolutely no control of my team. I don't get this feeling very often unless I run into a really poor run of bad game weeks. But otherwise, I've never been like I don't plan based on stats. I do plan for players who will play and may get doubles potentially,
Mm.
and that's about it. And just pray for the game to go on. And I'm sure that's the feeling for many managers of us. And I had to play what I have, and that's why I sold Salah for Ronaldo and Son. And I even sacrificed Lacazette, who was about to play Norwich, but I got Martinelli for a -8, and
Oh
only
no.
just 17 points down. I had to count it.
Oh,
So yeah. And by the way, these two extra moves for -8 went through while the crash was there. I had the
yeah.
page back on at some point, but the transfer did not confirm, and I just thought, okay, Sun captain, and the transfer did not go through. But when the page came back after the deadline, I found the -8 is there as I wanted initially, but somehow it backfired. So
Oh, I
yeah,
mean, you can't. Obviously, I'm just a Simpsons character at the moment, but if you could see me, I am wincing, and oh, that's
yeah,
awful. That's just yeah, and it shouldn't have been that bad. I mean, selling Lacazette was obviously going to be a brave call. I know Late Riser did it as well,
yeah,
and a few other people did it. I mean, people
yeah,
really, really wanted Ronaldo in for the fixture and longer
yeah.
term as well. But yeah, to be punished like that.
I had to go for Ronaldo. I just did not feel like Lacazette was up for it fantasy wise against Leeds, and I thought Martinelli will cover that. Um, but yeah, I didn't have Martinelli when he hauled against Leeds, and I did the swap, and I got absolute nothing from
I
from
feel
them.
I feel a little bit happy about that, to be honest. I feel like I got him in early, and then he became the big
Yeah,
bandwagon I kind of thought he would, and then he blanked. And I was like,
yeah.
yeah, you don't deserve
Yeah.
him.
Well,
No one deserves him.
recently I've been buying players to break them. So Martinelli is gone as.
Oh, it's your fault. It's your
Yeah,
fault.
it is.
Well, let's have a look at some of the other players that you're going to break this week. I've got your team on the screen. You've got
Yeah.
Ramsdale and Steer in goal, so no goalkeeper currently. You're playing Livramento, never never a good sign. Cancelo, James, and Trent. Jota, Martinelli, you got Son captain, Foden, Antonio, and Ronaldo. So you're 2 players off a full squad,
Yeah.
not including Alan, who's on your bench.
Yeah.
Are you going to be taking a hit this week?
At least a one, I think. Yeah, 9 players, including Foden, who might be still naughty, Livramento, who plays Spurs, who I'm captaining someone against him,
Yeah.
and Alan, who might not get a game after all. So I'm really in a bad situation. Add to that, no Salah. But I think exactly what the press mentioned. I was following the stream. I have made the decision to go without Salah for the run, and I have to stick by it. Yes, I did not anticipate Ronaldo to blank with a yellow card, but I've just got to go for it because I'm also someone who is planning for a bench boost in 2020, in 22. So I'll just ride with it, and I hope that Son and Ronaldo will try to cover part of what Salah is gonna do. So I think from this morning I've been looking at the goalkeepers. I'm not gonna sell Ramsdale. I think I've got him at 4-6, and he's a very good goalkeeper. With not the best, he's a hygiene player. If he does haul, then I'm covered. If he doesn't, or he has a very high ownership. So, and he's a very good goalkeeper. So I feel safe having him in my team. So probably gonna be steered to a goalkeeper, and I have to fund that because I have only 0.5 in the bank. So it has to come at the expense of someone like probably Watkins, who may double, but I just don't know.
So who would you
And
move
not many
Watkins down
options.
to? Someone like
Yeah,
Broja, maybe?
yeah, that would leave me with 7.2. And I've looked at Edward, I've looked at Broha, I looked at King, and I'm not convinced by anyone. I'm just not entirely sure. So I might go for one of those three. Um, but in general, I'm not quite satisfied with anyone lower than 7 million.
It's slim pickings. I mean, even over 7 million. I mean, you've got Antonio and
Yeah,
Ronaldo in place. It's so hard to recommend anyone else.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you want the likes of like Vardy to be an option. I mean, I'll tell you who I do really like the look of this week that I haven't really seen anyone talking about or anyone's teams, and that's Lukaku. I think
Mm,
if anyone's listening to this and they're on a free hit, I would be going Lukaku over Ronaldo for sure. Because he came off the bench against Aston Villa, he looked absolutely unplayable. So
mm,
strong, so fast. Goal and assist in 45 minutes. Brighton was
mm.
still without Lewis Dunk. If you watch the Brighton game,
Yeah,
it looks like we were comfortable on the scoreline. I tell you, that second half we were not comfortable. If Brentford had got a goal back, I think we would have completely crumbled. We cleared off the
mm,
line. They hit the post about 3 times. Sanchez pulled out some spectacular saves.
yeah,
I'm worried about this Chelsea game from a Brighton point of view. I think we
yeah.
I think we could get a bit of a drubbing.
Yeah, I thought Lukaku was decent in that half as well. I think Tuchel has mentioned something about not being ready for 45 minutes, but he had to put him on because of the
Mm.
Shalobah injury. So I wonder whether Lukaku will get a 90. But overall, the fixture, if you are on a free hit, you would look at these kind of players. Free hit 19 was really about Mahrez for me, and I posted on Twitter saying you have to have him if you want to punt on someone for Gameweek 19. And Lukaku could be similar player for Gameweek 20.
Mm.
So yeah,
I think
gonna be interesting one.
what I'm kind of trying to do this week is look at players, obviously who came off the bench
Yeah.
last week. So Antonio, I think is perfect. I think he's almost certainly going to start against Watford. Someone like Lukaku, you're looking at City. I'm looking at Foden and thinking, ball off the bench, surely can't still be on the naughty step. Must you know have, have done enough to make Gilly's Pep bring him on for a bit in line for a
Mm.
start. This is all we can do. I mean, Son and Kane got subbed early. I mean, someone like Reece James, for example, worries me this
Yeah.
week. Like, is he going to play again? Really important game against Liverpool coming up. Some really hard fixtures on the
Mm.
horizon. I mean, they haven't exactly got a lot of options in defence if
No.
Chalobah is injured and Silva's out. But I look at him and think if you were going to rest him, this would probably be the game to do it.
Yeah, if not injured, because I saw James a bit limping, and it was confirmed by someone else on a separated chat. He did not feel James was good in the last 20 minutes, but Chelsea have used all the subs.
Mm.
and I'm not entirely sure whether we get something before the deadline or not. But if I know that James is out, he's someone I don't want to have him after Brighton. And if he misses a Brighton, then he opens a way to really get whoever I want in goal, and I get to keep Watkins for the game weeks afterwards. But I just don't know. And anything from Chelsea, if I'm not covered, then I will. Or I'm already about to have a bad week. I wouldn't. I don't want to let Chelsea add to that as well. So it's tough one. It's tough one, really.
He had a poor game as well, Reece James. I
Yeah.
thought. I mean, I can't remember ever watching a Chelsea game and thinking like Reece James looks bad, but the own goal was unlucky, but kind of typified the performance a little bit. His crossing wasn't on point. His defending wasn't very good. He was making his passing was poor.
No.
Yeah, so
And that reflected badly on FPL as well. He got 15 points in the last 7 game weeks, and I owned him exactly 7 game weeks ago. So
yeah,
it's
another player to add to your list, Karen.
I'm happy for everyone in the chat if they want me to break someone. Then,
You should start a Patreon page and just say, yeah,
exactly.
if you want me to break a player, just just give me send me a
Give me
tenner
the
and
name. Yeah,
I'll bring him
exactly.
in my team. So there's a few people in the chat talking about Everton.
Yeah.
The fixtures are really nice for Everton. The Newcastle game is, I mean, there's lots of talk around whether it's going to happen. Obviously, Everton have had their own problems and their own injuries and COVID
Yeah.
troubles. Newcastle, Callum Wilson going off, St Maximan as well. There's talk about COVID issues in their camp as well. I think, like Neil said, if there's a game that's going to be in danger of being called off, I think it probably is the Everton game. And
Yeah.
the fact it's in 2 days' time means that we're not going to know until well after the deadline's passed. But the fixture run is great for Everton. I mean, players like Pickford could come into the reckoning. Damari Gray, if he can carry on his early season form. Calvert-Lewin's coming back. Is there any players from Everton that you're thinking about, other than Alan, of course?
Yeah, certainly DCL. I'm just probably the solution for that spot. The third spot will be DCL in 2022. Happy New Year. In game week 22, ideally, I would like to have a Calvert-Lewin, Antonio, and Ronaldo for that potential double, because these are the 3 strikers who are most likely to get one. My issue with Calvert-Lewin is not about him. It's about the support he will get from the team, the creativity he gets. He's someone who once crosses, put his head and score, and that's partly done with Digne, who might be out from the whole team. And I'm not entirely sure if the right back spot is delivering that. So in a way, plus who is out and in already with COVID. So it's really tough. Even if Calvert-Lewin is back, I'm not entirely sure how would he perform. At least I need to see something. And I would have hoped that the Newcastle game is the first audition for him if he's back. Now we will not probably get to see that before 21, and that's very, very close to the double game week. Him and Pickford are the standout ones.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might not be interested in anyone.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Pickford would be a real contender if this Newcastle game wasn't in the doubt that it is.
Yeah.
I think I would be really considering going for Pickford. But I just think it's too risky. Mehul in the chat says, "Can you break Smith Rowe?"
Well, I mean,
Probably
I'm
number
not
one
getting
target
him.
for a lot of people.
I'm not getting him this week, but he might be coming on and score somehow, even without the game. So yeah,
I think I'm gonna have to sell him. I think. I mean,
Are you?
yeah, he's been incredible, but I don't think he's part of Arsenal's strongest side at the moment. It's why he keeps getting these substitute appearances. I mean, he can't be doing much more. I think he's going to play. We're going to see rotation, but
Yeah.
I think I'm holding on to Martinelli and Smith Rowe, and I think Smith Rowe is a weaker option than Martinelli at the moment. So
Yeah.
I think next week it's Maddison. I'm looking for, of course, because I'm a sucker for Maddison. I wish I got him weeks ago. But yeah, I think Smith Rowe probably is going to leave my team. Maybe you jinx players, and when I sell Smith Rowe, he'll go back to being rubbish. But
Yeah. We'll see.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna be watching the Leicester game tonight?
Probably not. I'll try to embrace myself and go for a walk with my wife also, not watching that game. Although I'm actually tempted partly to captain Trent Captaincy is not 100% locked in. I think it makes sense to put it on Son, but I worry about his minutes because he was subbed on 15 minutes later than Kane, which could suggest that Kane will get the full game, but Son might get another 70, 75 minutes. Although I'll be happy if he does the damage in the first 70 minutes. I just don't know which Southampton will turn up if they made the game difficult. Man, maybe we'll see Bergwijn and Lucas Moura at some point together with Kane. So expected minutes could be a bit less than the full game, but I think he's still a decent option for me. Trent comes next. With the chances conceded from the crosses and the set pieces, we've seen that City don't score from crosses and corners. We scored the 2 or 3 against Leicester. So if that's anything, then it means that Trent will be up there for the delivery, and his PBS king. Should he return either a clean sheet or a tackle return? So he might be a decent option, but you never know. It's Vardy up top, and all it takes is a one run behind the defense and nick that goal. So
yeah, I think we saw a very, very second string Leicester team. Obviously they've got loads of problems in defence, but they had Vardy on the bench, they had Ndidi on the bench. I think Rodgers said that they weren't ready to play, but you've got to think they're going to play in this game. I think Leicester's only chance in this game is to attack, and I think they can get a goal in this one. I think the likes of Maddison isn't too bad an option this week. If people are waiting for Norwich and Burnley coming up, I don't think this is an awful week to bring in Maddison.
No, I considered him for Foden.
Yeah,
initially, but I got to keep him even if he's out of favor for this period of time. I'll put my money that he starts this game week, but certainly Maddison is someone I'm eyeing on next game week, which may tell you don't buy him.
Please don't get him, Karen. I like Maddison. He's having a good season. He doesn't need you, Kirsty.
Yeah, he's your best friend, right?
He is. Yeah. I mean, I'm tempted to do it. I could do it for I'm definitely taking a -4. I'll be bringing in De Gea and Antonio. I'm going to make those moves fairly soon. Deadline's in half an hour. Anyone listening to this, don't forget. I could get Maddison in for Smith Rowe, make that -8. That means I'd bench Ben Johnson. It's not too bad a game for Johnson if he plays against Watford, but then I've got Josh King. It's it's all these kind of weighing up the stuff, isn't it, to try and work out what's kind of best.
A lot of transfers coming in for De Gea. Are you worried about the Wolves game? Just a quick question on that part, because I'm eyeing on him, but and then Ramsdale will play City, which is not ideal, but it says saves, so I wouldn't mind to play him, but it's not ideal anyway.
If I didn't have Ramsdale, I would be worried. It's the fact that I do have a backup goalkeeper, even if it is against Man City. It's what puts me off doing Ramsdale to De Gea. It's one of the reasons. One thing, I don't really particularly want to lose Ramsdale. I've got too much value tied up in him. Think he's really good. But I actually think in this period, having 2 goalkeepers is much more valuable than it has been in previous seasons. So yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, it's just we just want Ben Foster, don't we? This is the time when Ben Foster on our benches would be so perfect. Just before I let you go, Karen, I've got a couple of questions for you from the chat. Miena Sidom, he's sent us another super chat. He's definitely panicking. I like that. Hi again. What do you think of my last question? I bet it's not his last question. -8 for Gunn, Saka, Watkins, for De Gea, Jota, and a 5 million forward. So -8, getting in a goalkeeper, getting rid of Saka. I think he's a good option, but then he hasn't got Jota. This is the problem. I think Jota is good. If you haven't got him, I think you've got to be finding a way to bring him in, right?
Yeah, and not only for this game week, but also for the upcoming doubles with no Salah and Mane. I'm pretty certain that his minutes will be really high. He's also a captain options for some, so it's nice to have him covered. For 5 million forward, I can't think of anyone but Broja.
Yeah, he's the only one.
He's the only one. Yeah.
He's the only one. There's no one else. I mean, you're looking at someone like Gelhardt. Obviously, hasn't got the game this week. Or you're going for someone like Locadia or Keenan Davis who don't play, but they're 4.5. So I don't particularly like that as a -8. I think you could do Saka to Jota and Watkins to Broja, and then maybe just don't have a goalkeeper this week. Then that's a -4.
Yeah, I mean, Gunn will play, right? Because Kroos is still out.
Yeah, he should.
And Norwich Palace, with the injuries that we hear from Palace, I wouldn't rule out a 0-0. somehow. Although I'm a bit bullish towards Edward, but it's a game where it can end a 0-0. So is he worth a hit?
no, I would play. If you've got a keeper that's going to play, I would
Yeah,
play him. Yeah, I
yeah,
think Saka and Watkins for Bro and Jota
yeah,
is fine
yeah.
for this week. Right, Cameron, my next guest is in the waiting room. Thank you so much for
Of
joining me. It's been
course.
great to speak to you again,
Yeah. Cheers, everyone, and good luck for this game week.
and I'll see you soon. This is going quite smoothly so far. I think we're going to get our next guest in. One of my favourite people around. Let's see if he's there. There he is.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Oh, it's only TED Talks. How you doing, mate?
Bit stressed at the moment, buddy. If I'm in all honesty.
FPL wise or life wise or both?
Oh no, definitely FPL wise for sure.
Well, don't worry. We've got the most chaotic stream to help you make all of your decisions. I'm getting more and more confused about what I want to do with every guest that we have on. And yeah, maybe you're going to be the same. Or maybe you can talk some sense into me, which you've never done before. But, first time for everything.
Absolutely. Oh goodness me! No, I think you've been doing wonders on this stream, haven't you? I'm surprised there's been no technical difficulties so far.
Well, except for the fact that I haven't got a webcam.
Oh, obviously the main one.
Although a lot of people are saying they prefer that to see my face. It is
That's
typical though,
harsh.
isn't it? I mean, I do I go away for a few days. It's all working. Well, I had a few problems last week. I did a stream with Chris, and it went off halfway through, and I was thinking that's a bit weird. And then I've come back from from down in Essex and tried to get things working, and it's just completely not working. But anyway, I'm sure there's something.
Oh well, I'll sort it out soon, mate.
Yeah,
It'll be fine.
thanks, mate. I needed that encouragement. Right, let's have a look, Ted, at what you've got going on. Oh God, you are. Yeah. Well, we've been chatting this morning, haven't we? And I know there's a few things that you're thinking of. So let's let's try and go through this. So you've got Foster and Ramsdale, no goalkeeper, just like me. Trent, Alonso, James, Cancelo. You got Jota captain, Bowen, Foden, and Sterling, King and Ronaldo. Livramento on your bench, no other bench players. So no Salah. But if all these players turn up, I'd say you've got a pretty strong team.
I've made my transfers already now, so I can disclose them. When I was talking to you earlier, I was gearing up for a -8, and
I wasn't too happy with it, was I?
You weren't too happy with it, and I think you've put some reason in my moves, I think. And watching Praz earlier, who has a similar situation to me. He's gearing up for a double game week 22 without the free hit. So you're basically using transfers to try and get a decent bench boost team together. So I was thinking, right, okay, well, if I need to gear up for that, I may as well just make the moves now. If I've got some problems, some fires to fight. But I've scaled that back a bit. I'm going to do a -4. I've done in De Gea in for Foster.
Yep.
And Ben Davies in for Alonso. Had exactly the same, had the right amount of cash to do those moves. The other option was
in for Alonso.
Yeah, it was to facilitate De Gea because Foster to De Gea is a massive upgrade.
I see. Okay. Right.
Yeah. But the other move was really, really troubled by this still. And I've been going from one end to the other about whether to move Sterling to Son. And it's only based on the rotation risk. And you're just trying to second guess Pep. And it's just an absolute nightmare. I've gone from trying to sell Sterling to Son to now captaining Sterling. That shows how much of a mess I'm in at the moment.
Well, I was similar. I put a free hit team together earlier that didn't have Foden in it, and I was thinking I had Lukaku in it, it had Salah back, it looked quite strong. And then I sent it to a few people. Someone just said, "Oh, no Foden. Like, surely he's going to start." And now I've got him captain, so it's exactly the same. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't think any of us really know what we're doing.
I think the captain spread's going to be pretty prevalent this week.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people talking about captaining Trent, Jota, Son, like the differential Sterling, Ronaldo still. There's so many options. And obviously the main one is Salah if you own him. So hopefully his effective ownership isn't going to be crazy high this week, because a lot of people who have done the Ronaldo in last week will be massively hurt if Salah bangs. Is it tonight? It's tonight, isn't it? I think he probably will. I think that's the consensus, but you just gotta live with it, I think. And
so you weren't tempted to bring him back?
No, from the process of trying to fulfill like a double game week 22 team with a bench boost just goes against that. You're wasting a couple of transfers. I'm probably echoing to what everyone has said already on this stream. So yeah, I won't dwell too much on that. But yeah, definitely hugely fear Salah tonight. I'll still watch it because basically a masochist. Um, so it kind of makes me want to captain Jota, but the problem is you just don't know whether any of these people are going to start. And yeah, I mean, I'm captaining Sterling. I have no idea if he's going to start.
No.
It's an absolute nightmare. Probably if I wanted to be safe, and maybe captain Trent for if I wanted to ensure a start. But it's just absolute nightmare, mate. I'm so stressed. I'm losing hair by like clumps. It's all coming out.
I think I said earlier. I think this week is normally fairly stressful. Take COVID out of it completely. It's a stressful week because there's so many games packed together, mass rotation. All you can really do is look at players that have been subbed on and subbed off and see if you can kind of get any kind of make any kind of an informed guess out of that. I mean, Sterling's played 90 minutes, last two games against Newcastle, Leicester, missed out completely against Leeds, which is when you brought him in, I think.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of research on this just to try. This is why I've got Sterling on, captain on Sterling at the moment.
Yep.
He's only missed 2 games in the last 10 matches for City, which was the dead rubber at RB Leipzig in the Champions League and the Leeds one you mentioned, the 7-0 drubbing. In all of the other ones, he's pretty much played 90 minutes and his stats are just insane. So it just part of me is going, well, it's 3 days after they've played last. So Pep really likes to ring the changes normally. So I'm going to go, okay, from that basis, he's going to get benched. From the other side, he's one of the key members in that City squad. He's played loads and loads and loads of minutes. Then maybe he'll keep his place. I just really don't know. And as we've discussed earlier in our little chat, it's just pointless to second guess Pep. And I might just keep the status quo just to see what happens. The problem is that Son is pretty well owned at the moment, and not taking the hit to get him in, which I know that I want Son for the double game week, is long term it will pay off, but it's that immediate -8 which puts me off a little bit, and the fact that Sterling could absolutely destroy Brentford. So I really don't know.
I admit I raised a few eyebrows when you brought Sterling in. I thought that is risky, and then he was benched, and I thought he's really going to regret that. But you stuck with him, and he's done really well for you. I have to say. I mean, you look at Foden, and I was so convinced that Foden was going to be the kind of go-to option, and he's been dreadful last few weeks. I mean, he gets the odds double digit, but then misses out, does naughty things, and yeah, and Sterling's the good boy.
I think that's the main issue with Foden. He hasn't played badly or anything. It's just been for that disciplinary reasons. And brought Sterling in for that Leeds match, and it was absolute torture watching that match without Sterling, because he would have got a couple of goals in that. I'm sure he would have. But since then, he's got an 8 and a 14-point return, so absolutely fantastic, and totally made up for that really disappointing benching against Leeds. So yeah, I'm very happy, and I mean, he's a good differential captain this week. If he plays, you could just sense the turmoil that's going through my head at the moment. I really don't know what to do, but I think a lot of people might be in the same position, and not knowing who to captain, because a lot of people will be rotation risks. A lot of like Jota's got really good fixture against Leicester, very, very leaky. The City boys are absolutely just punishing teams, whoever they play, 6-7 goals here and there. It's just you need to get amongst those points, don't you? So Ronaldo was dreadful last night, wasn't he?
What did you watch it? It was real bad.
I think the whole thing was antipathized by that Rashford cross that he sliced and it went into the stands. Everything was just so poor. So what's your thoughts about holding Ronaldo at the moment? I mean, long term for the double game week, it makes sense, but it's pretty counterintuitive.
I mean, I've held on to him for ages. I held on to him through all the blanks. I just wanted him for that Newcastle game. It was, you talk about holding on to a player for too long. I mean, I just thought, when it was a combination of not really knowing who else to get, there's so few striker options to move him down to that it just wasn't really interesting me. But yeah, the Newcastle and the Burnley game, I thought I really want to have him in. But I was just so disappointed with not just him, but just United in general. I thought Ranić coming in, I thought the least we'd see would be some effort from the side and he'd get them, pressing in the way that he had. And the Norwich game was bad enough, but it just went to a new level against Newcastle. I was saying to Press earlier, I think it's the worst United have played all season in the first half. It was an absolute embarrassment. Newcastle were brilliant and electric, but United, I mean, Maguire, he just doesn't look cut out for it at the moment. Yeah, I've come from like the World Cup, the Euros, sorry, where he's took player of the tournament in defence, or at least in the best 11. To
I
what
was,
to what you saw last night.
it was awful. Maguire was. I just remember watching that game, just thinking, why don't you try and move up the pitch rather
Mm,
than just stalling and just being really, really slow and just passing it to Varane, who was even worse, arguably, than Maguire. And yeah, I just think it was an all-round terrible display from Man United. But it's terrible that we have to say this like on numerous occasions for United because they seem to put in these terrible, terrible performances, and the subsequent week they bounce back for some reason.
mm.
And so very, very difficult to predict what kind of Man United we're going to get week on week, which is terrible from a FPL perspective. But from a double game week perspective in game week 22, having a couple is probably what you want. I was definitely tempted to bring in Dallo this week, but
Mm.
after last night's performances, 100% put off. I wouldn't be surprised if he was replaced by Wan-Bissaka at some point. But to double up with Man United at the back just seems like an absolute no-go at the moment. At least De Gea is getting loads and saves because they're defensively so porous.
Well, you're saying that I'm literally just making my transfers now. Hang on, I think I might. Oh no, I won't show that. Just in case I do something stupid. I did it. I can't remember what stream it was. I was doing one before, and I was live showing my transfers. It wasn't for FPL. I think it must have been for the Championship Manager game. And I did my transfers, and then someone just said, "Oh, you could have taken out a player who had a blank," and I'd taken out a player with a game instead of a player who had a blank, and that's the kind of thing that you risk. I'm about to do my transfers though. I've just done. It's 12 minutes past one. So there's 18 minutes till the deadline. We know what happened before. I would urge everyone to start at least thinking about doing their transfers in the next sort of 8 minutes or so. Particularly if you're on a free hit. If you're using your free hit, put that free hit together now. Make sure that's kind of locked in. You can make some little changes to it before. I'm making my transfers now. I'm doing Jimenez out for Antonio, and I'm doing Ben Foster up to De Gea for a -4.
I think it was a good moves. Antonio is still a massive enigma, but he's got probably a good double game week coming up, so why not?
Yeah, why not?
What's your general impression of Antonio's?
God.
There's no other options, is there? That's the
There's
problem.
no one else. There is no one else to consider. I mean, I've got Ronaldo, Antonio, and Josh King, and I think that's probably about as good as it gets, really.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, if Villa had a game, particularly if they're playing Leeds, I think one of Watkins or Ings could have done a job. Like I've said, I think Lukaku's a strong option against us this week. I think he will start, and I think he's going to bully us a lot. But there is no one else that I like the look of. I mean, what do you think about Harry Kane, for example? You've
I
been more
mean,
impressed with him lately?
yeah, I prefer Harry Kane to Ronaldo off the back of that performance last night for Man United. But the problem is, I think when you're building a double game week squad, having Son and Kane and then another premium is going to be stretching your squad pretty thin. And I think if people want to bench boost, then that's probably not a good idea. So um, I think keep it to two premiums and then you'll be fine to stretch the squad out to 15 players. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to go Son and Kane as your two premiums, then I wouldn't be adverse to that, to be completely honest. But I guess a couple of the Spurs defenders is a decent bench boost
Mm.
option as well, like Ben Davis and Reguilon
Well,
are fab options.
it's amazing how quickly things can turn around, isn't it? Because I mean, to me, it was so obvious that like Son and Ronaldo were the two, premium options to have in your side. But I mean, you've got Sterling in yours. I think he's done exactly what you wanted him to do. I think people are talking about De Bruyne as well,
Yeah,
and he's come back into the mix and playing false nine as well, and playing consecutive games as well is big for him. Do you think? I don't know if he'll start the next game. That might be one too many, but certainly I think long term he's a decent long term hold.
I think it's good for the game though. I think having these dilemmas as FPO managers makes it interesting, and as much as I really liked the perma captain
Mm.
Salah, situation, having these things to think about is really divisive for the game, and it means that people that get their decisions right will progress further up the ranks. And I think that's probably a good, it's something different to manage over Christmas. I think we probably will get back to Captain Salah permanently after when he's back from AFCON. So make the most of it. If you do like this current environment, make the most of it while you
It's
can.
fun, isn't it, though? You talk about, it is nice to have the game sort of freshened up and you'd have a captain player that we haven't used before. But then you got Ronaldo. You give it to Ronaldo, you're thinking, oh, I got it Ronaldo last day. I was looking at live FPL, Raggaboly's brilliant site, and I did the what if machine, and I was sitting at around sort of 18k or something. And if Ronaldo had got 10 points, which I thought was completely feasible against Newcastle, it would have put me up to about 12k, something like that. And I thought, oh, this is just a given. I mean, lock that ranking right now. And yeah, it just didn't
Mate,
happen.
I did exactly the same thing. I'm not even making this up. I went on the what if tool. I said, oh, 14 points will do it. That's my safety score. 14 points from Ronaldo. I'll get 100% of the effective ownership. Love it. 1 point.
It's evil, isn't it? I mean, Ragabolly has built the most incredible tool like out there. Like it's unbelievable the amount of information it can get, but also, telling you which players, the effective ownership thing, telling you, oh, Reece James basically doesn't matter what he does, it won't affect your rank at all. Oh, if you haven't captained Salah, well, you're going to go down about 40,000 places for every goal that he scores tonight. It's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. It adds a new element of obsession to things, doesn't it? Which is kind of out of your control, but wouldn't be. I don't know where we'd be without it. It's one of those things which is
It's fun to
absolute
talk about
marvel.
anyway.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I've still got the captaincy on Foden. I've done my moves. Vice
Have
on Son.
you captain Foden? Oh my god, this is my issue. I'm currently stressing about who to captain because mine's I'm currently on Sterling, and I just know if the team sheet comes out tomorrow night, it's gonna ruin me, and Sterling's not on there. I agree with you, Foden with his little substitute cameo
Yeah,
last
that's what I'm
game.
thinking.
Yeah, decent amount of confidence there, but you just don't know. You don't know whether he's just confined to those cameos now for the next couple of games,
Yeah,
still
that's
in the
true.
doghouse.
Oh, don't say these things to me, Ted. I think Son and Jota are the kind of obvious ones this week. If you haven't got, so I think Ronaldo is still obviously a good pick. In home game, Burnley been poor defensively. I was just so unimpressed with United. I just don't think I can do it. And when I look at Spurs, how much they've improved under Conte, I look at City and the damage they can do against Brentford and Jota as well with the rest they've had. I think those three games are just better than the United game at the moment. United fixture.
Maybe United will be better at home. Were they home yesterday? Actually, that's going to catch me out if they were.
No, they
Um,
weren't. No, they were away.
they weren't. Okay, so maybe there's something in that. But yeah, Burnley at home, you can't really get much of a better fixture, really. So it'll be interesting to see if they bounce back. But I definitely wouldn't go anywhere near Ronaldo captaincy after the showing yesterday. Um,
I don't think I'd do Sterling.
no,
I think Foden's helped by the fact that I don't think De Bruyne's going to play, and the fact he got the minutes off the bench. Whereas we could see Grealish coming back in, right? And
probably.
Mahrez is being flogged a bit because he's off to the cup in a few weeks.
Okay,
We
I'm
could
being
see another game
convinced.
from him. I hate talking people out of a move. If you believe in him, then obviously go for it. I just think the City lineup is hard to predict. I'd advise
Sterling's
you to keep Sterling. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah, I
sell
think
him,
I'm going to keep him. He's
but
2.8% owned in the game. He's a massive differential. Just maybe owning him is enough. And I think if I don't captain a Liverpool player in that match, then I just won't be able to watch it.
yeah,
So I think from an enjoyment perspective, I'm probably just going to switch it to Jota and vice captain Trent. Although, is that a bad idea because it could
yeah,
just get
you never
called
know.
off?
Yeah, I think vice captain has to go on
Foden.
someone else, right? I think
Oh,
Jota won't miss out completely. So if he
yeah.
doesn't start, it will go to your bias. Sorry, if he's yeah, if he doesn't start, it doesn't matter unless he completely misses out.
So there's a lot of logic about captaining Alexander Arnold, because I think I saw some stats on Twitter saying that Leicester were terrible for conceding from set pieces, and Trent is already monopolising all of them for Liverpool. So that could be a thing. The only issue is Leicester have been pretty free scoring, and I
think they score.
I think they probably do score as well.
I think they score
Puts me
tonight.
off.
Yeah, I mean, was it Leicester where Trent got the 21 points a few seasons ago? I think it
Yeah,
was.
I think you're
I
right.
think it might have been an away match as well, when he just went absolutely berserk. I know Luke had sold him because it was a difficult looking game on paper. It's less difficult from an attacking point of view now, but yeah, I think Leicester score. I think Son and Jota are the ones this week.
Okay, yeah.
If you haven't
Captain
got,
Jota, that's what I'm doing. You've convinced me.
Oh,
I
God.
will soundbite this if you completely.
That's the only reason I got you on here, Ted, just to talk about it. Right, I've got my next guest in the chat. Ted, it has been an absolute pleasure, as it always is, talking to you. Good luck. Let me know if you do switch it off Sterling, and I'll await his hat trick.
Nice one. Thanks, mate. Good luck.
Good luck, mate. See you soon.
Bye.
Right, let's bring on my final guest. And this is the guest that's going to be with us right up until the team news at 2 o'clock. He's already been in the chat and ruined the surprise of who it is. But it is my good friend. If his audio ever works. Come on, Janny. Come on, Janny. Here he comes. You can't see this, but on Zoom there's a little 3 dots that go up and down when it says they're connecting to audio, and Janny's is still going up and down. So between us, I've got no camera, he's got no sound. Oh, here he is.
Hello. How are
Hello.
you?
Good, mate. How you doing?
I'm very well. As always, 9 minutes to deadline. I'm a little bit edgy. I'm a little bit stressed. I didn't realise it was a surprise that we weren't.
Yeah, cheers for that.
announcing
Yeah,
who was
well
coming
done.
on.
Yeah, just go straight in the chat. That's you in a nutshell, isn't it? Going in, letting everyone know, fanfare, fireworks, all of that stuff. I've got your team.
Mate, I don't know who I'm captaining. I don't know who to captain, and I really want to captain Foden, but I've just been stung by Pep so much recently with Foden starts, which I haven't been calling. And I think he does start, but Son is just the obvious. I mean, you've got Son and Foden, right? I think I'm going to go Son. Son is the sensible pick. Foden's the fun pick, but I'm so torn.
I'll show you my team quick. Oh, I haven't got your camera in. Can I be bothered to sort that out? Yeah, people only come on this stream to see you, to be honest. So I better put you in. Hold on. Bit of live. It's all the
Why am I talking to a cartoon, by the way? Where's your face?
So 20 minutes before the stream started, my camera decided just to completely pack up. So
Joy.
I've had to come in as a Simpsons character. This is my team. This is how I'm shaped up at the moment. I'll do it quickly because we've only got 8 minutes. I bought De Gea in. I bought Antonio in for Jimenez and Foster. I've got Reece James, Cancelo, Trent, Ben Johnson. Hopefully he starts. We talked about Son and Foden. I've got Foden captain at the moment. Son viced. Jota, Ronaldo, Antonio, King. Oh, I tell you, not having Salah, this is the problem, isn't it? Because I look at those 3 in midfield and Ronaldo, and I think I'm going to get this wrong. They all look good options. I'm going to get it wrong. Anyway, that's how I'm set. I've got Livermore on the bench to come on. So I'm pretty much set. I am half tempted to take another -4 and take out Smith Rowe and bring in Maddison. I think Leicester score. It means I could bench Ben Johnson, but I think I probably won't.
You got a matter of minutes. Are you set on captaincy though, Az? Because Son and Foden are my vice and captain and your vice and captain. But I'm at the moment I've got the armband on Son. I'm going sensible because I just feel like it could be a 3-5-2 from Spurs, the Southampton high line. We've seen them struggling against Son before. And predicting Man City points is so difficult. We know they'll score bags of goals, but who gets the goals? So are you nailed on Foden?
No. Not at all. I'm between Foden and Son.
Yeah, I'm not even considering the others. Like you, I'm not considering Trent or Ronaldo. I like Jota, but again, I don't know if he starts. So for me, it is a 2-horse race. But I'm so torn, mate. I'm 51-49, and I'm hoping you can sway me either way.
Well, I mean, the biggest draw of Foden is the fact that he came off the bench and got some minutes. But at the same time,
Twice.
I wouldn't be totally surprised if Pep benched him again.
Same. And that's why it's too risky when we know Son will 100% start this football match. Son came off at 75 minutes along with Kane. Son missed the EFL Cup game. Son is ready to play twice in 3 days. He's durable enough to do that. And he's up against a defence that also would have played twice in 3 days. He's up against Southampton, who will surely have to rotate. Maybe not the back line, but there'll be rotation. Brentford, however, who City play, will have had 1 extra day's rest, similar to City, who would have had an extra day's rest, which might mean Pep doesn't need to go, Foden has to start because the others are knackered. Man City aren't playing twice in 3 days. They're not playing twice in 48 hours, which is the only doubt in my mind that Foden maybe doesn't start. I'm 75, 80% sure he does start, but with Son, I'm 100% sure. So it just seems ridiculous to go against Son.
Oh God, has it really come to this? Am I really getting, talked into things by
Am I
Gianni
getting advice from
Booties?
Gianni? Are you really going to say that? Mate, dagger to my heart.
Oh dear. Well, yeah. No, it's all excellent points. I think not having Salah just really does. I was saying to Ted a minute ago, not having Salah does open up things to
Yeah.
for you to be a bit different and for you to bring
Opportunity.
in opportunity. But at the same time, with it comes a lot of stress, because if Salah does get a brace or a hat trick tonight and Foden gets another 10 minutes off the bench, it's going to cripple me. I'm going to keep it on Foden for now. I've got 4 minutes. That's not enough time. Let's have a look at your team quickly before the deadline comes in. This is what you sent me. I assume you've made your moves now. But it's Ramsdale, Foster in goal. James Cancelo, Reguilon, Trent, Alonso, 5 at the back. Foden, Bowen, Son captain, Jota and Ronaldo with King on the bench. So you're just missing a goalkeeper from a first 11. So I'm guessing that's where you've gone.
Yeah, I've been so boring in template. I've gone with everyone else, despite them being shocking last night. I'm so put off on the Man United backline. When I say backline, I guess I mean defenders. I wouldn't be bringing in a United defender. However, with United being all over the place comes save points for De Gea, which is why I've gone Ramsdale to De Gea. I would love to sell Foster to De Gea. I'd love to keep Ramsdale. I'm 0.1 short and I'm not willing to take a 4-point hit to make it happen. So I had money in the bank, but I had $1 million in the bank and I needed 1.1. So unfortunately, with a very heavy heart, the guy that blanks 3 times in 8 game weeks, Ramsdale, is gone. And yes, I've got money tied up in him and I think I paid 4.5. But if I have to bring him back in 8 weeks' time, so be it. I'm not that fussed about team value this season anymore. So head to head, De Gea is the standout. I would have gone Lloris if I didn't have Reguilon, but I already had Spurs cover, and I'm not ready for Spurs double defense at the moment. So I'm fairly happy with my decision on transfer. Josh King benched is probably the right move. I hope it's the right move. He's well rested. I could see Josh King having some getting in with some action against a tired West Ham defence. But who do you bench? It's either Alonso or King, and I kind of want Alonso for the upside. There's a good chance one of my players doesn't start. We always see so much rotation in this fixture, 48 hours after the last. I wouldn't be surprised to see James or Reguilon or Alonso missing out and King coming in anyway.
I'm so on edge that when you said Josh King benched, I just thought you meant Josh King has been benched in real life, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to take another transfer. But you didn't mean that. You meant in your own FPL team. Just an update on me. I have now moved the captaincy over to Son.
I knew it. I knew I was going to get you. You took advice from the Gianni Buttici. What's it come to?
I can't.
Come on.
I can't. Not with that reaction. I don't think I can. I've got to put it back on Foden.
Oh my God. Do it.
Oh, I honestly, I don't know what to do.
You said Foden. Stick with it, mate. Don't listen to me. I don't want to be responsible for Foden's 20-point haul and you not giving him the armband.
But I'm having ridiculous thoughts. Like, I've got Livramento first sub, and I think he's probably going to come on for someone. And then, do I want my captain playing against one of my defenders? And it's like, that's such a stupid way of looking at it, because I'm deliberately not playing Livramento because I think they're going to concede. If they're going to concede, everything you've said about Son is right. I think, given that Salah is such a huge problem, not owning him this week, I think you're right. I think we do have to be a little bit safe with the captaincy. I think Son and Jota are probably the 2 standout picks this week. If you don't have, I think Foden might be me trying to be a bit too clever.
Owning him is enough. That's my take. That's what I've summarised. Owning Foden is going to be enough.
Oh, it's on Son. Well, oh God, our team review is going to be fun, isn't it? 1 minute till deadline, everyone.
Go on, go Foden, because it'll be brilliant if it now.
You can see here, this is my team. No, I'm gonna give it to Son. Am I? Oh.
What made you go Foden in the first place? Stick to your guns.
Oh, right, Foden is.
Stick to mate, you did. You had it on Foden. I think you probably nailed it. Like you were ballsy enough to give it Foden in the first place.
No, all right, Foden is.
Go on, mate.
Swapped
I'm
it
with
back.
you. You're the one that's going to get the worldie finish this year, so I want this to work.
Well,
Like,
not anymore.
my rank might be good, but it's not going to be great. Yours could be a worldie rank.
You're a bloody nightmare. You are. You know exactly what you're doing. You're mind game central. Has Mark put you up to this? No, you're right. No, you are right. I think there are things here. I think Son is the safer pick, but I think when last minute transfer changes, very last minute things where you plan for this, don't you? You
Yeah.
plan for a while. I thought, okay, Foden's is going to play in this match. It's Brentford, newly promoted side. They were very, very poor against Brighton in the first half. City are racking up the goals lately. I think Foden is a strong shout. If I was going to advise people, which is kind of what we do here, then Son and Jota probably are the sensible picks. But it's not always a case of going sensible, is it? Sometimes you've got to go for it. So yeah, Foden is locked. Oh man.
I applaud your Foden pick, mate. I was 51-49, and I think Foden is. I definitely think City score more goals than Spurs, and I think Foden actually has a higher ceiling. But you know what's going to happen? They're both going to get the same points, whether that's 2 or 10. All this deliberation between two players, they're both just going to get the same points, aren't they?
I mean, the worst part is just like Joshua Tan says in the chat, is Foden benched, and it has him coming off the bench wasn't a sign that he's going to play. And I just feel
He
like
has to start,
doesn't he? He surely has to start. I think there's got to be a more long-term problem if Foden misses out again.
If Foden doesn't start, I've gone from wanting to captain him to selling him. Like
Yeah.
if he doesn't start again, he's probably a sell, which
I
I never thought I'd say.
look at his minutes really. I mean, he had a great run from the Chelsea game when you first originally bought him. I believe you were way ahead of the curve.
Oh yeah, I forget we've got a bit of
we've got a bit of history.
relationship with Foden. Us
We
two.
have. No, you bought him at Liverpool, didn't you? Gameweek 7.
I bought him for his first points, mate.
You did. You bought him at Liverpool for his first points. That's right. He got 7 points. I bought him the week after for the Burnley match, and he got an assist. And then he got us both the 18 points against Brighton. So I'm hoping for another one of those.
That was huge.
And then he got another two starts, number 290s, and then 57 he got injured. And then since he's come back, it's been a bit all over the place. 74 minutes against Watford, 34 against Wolves, 90 against Leeds, where he got a goal and assist. Then didn't play against Newcastle on the naughty step, and then Leicester, 19 minutes. I think he starts.
Do you reckon? Did you sell him in that time and bring him back, or did you? I've
did.
held him since game week 6. Like it's ridiculous. My loyalty to the guy.
I did. I sold him for
It's the
Jota.
right move.
Yeah, I sold him for Jota, which was worked out well. And yeah, I bought him back because I had who did I have? I had Rafinha that I had to move on when the fixtures turned for them. So I put Rafinha back up to Foden, and that's when I ended up getting Martinelli because it was yeah.
Oh, it worked out very well. That
Well,
little
I could
mid-price midfielders.
I know. Well, I could have done Rafinha to Silva for free, and instead I did Martinelli so I could afford Foden, and it's been. Well, to be fair, Foden got the 12 points against Leeds when I bought him in. So
yeah.
He
Mate, for the time you've owned Foden, for the very not many weeks, you've had him at the right points. Like you've done well with him. You've still got him early. The captaincy for Foden this week for you, I like.
I did like it. I'm not too sure anymore.
I mean, it's going to be entertaining. Like City are going to score bags of goals. Surely, Brentford all over the place.
Well,
Brentford haven't kept a clean sheet since Ray has been out.
No. Did you watch the game against Brighton?
Yeah. I watched the second half. So I actually missed the goals, but I saw the goals obviously on highlights. But I saw the second half, and Brentford started to come into it. But I think the first half was all Brighton, though.
It was a very interesting game because the first half Brighton played, the very best Brighton you could see with the main, the main difference being they actually scored some goals.
Yeah.
And both goals were fantastic. I mean, Trossard's. I mean, the Mwepu had the best game I've seen him play. Great ball over the top. First
Great
time lob. That's like a FIFA goal, wasn't it? When you try first time lob, it never works. It always goes wide. But Trossard, got it perfectly. And then Mope, a great finish from him too. But I tell you, the second half, I can't believe Brighton managed to not keep Brentford out because
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to them, but Brentford came out really strong. They created loads of chances, cleared off the line. You had Sanchez saves. It was a bit of a nightmare, and Brighton just managed to weather the storm.
Sanchez was good, wasn't he?
He was,
Sanchez pulled off some worldy saves,
he
but all
was.
their chances as came from like either long balls or throw-ins or set pieces. And it's like, I don't know if they're going to have enough territory. Like, this is a rugby term
Mm.
here. Like, will they have enough territory against Man City to even have the ball in and around the 18-yard attacking 18-yard box where they'll get the long throws and get the corners and the free kicks? City will just dominate. Like, I don't think Brentford will get out their half much. I don't know.
No, and the stream Mark and Luke did yesterday was great because Mark had some stats around Man City, not conceding from corners. And there's two things. Firstly, teams playing against Man City obviously don't get many corners because they never get the ball
Yeah.
and never get the ball down their pitch. But also, City's conversion from conceding corners is one of the best in the league as well. Brentford are really reliant on these set pieces, just like you say, to get
Yeah.
goals. And then Bomo's out as well. Tony didn't look right. I mean, he hasn't looked right, particularly right, but I wonder if there's still some effects. I mean, if he's had COVID and we see the long-term effects of that. And then you look at the
Yeah.
rest of the team and you think, where are the goals going to come from in open play? Rico Henry's out as well. The wing
Yeah,
backs
and
so important.
he's needed Henry. Like, he was brilliant against, I think it was against Chelsea in the cup. Like, the wing backs are so important to this system, right?
Yeah, I mean the one thing is we have seen Brentford play well against some of the top teams. So the game against Liverpool, for example, is probably the best
Yeah.
game I've seen this season. The game against your guys against Chelsea,
Chelsea, they were very
I, I,
good.
I don't
Yeah.
know I don't know how Brentford didn't get something from that game because the second half of that game was similar to the Brighton game. They were just all over you and you were
Yeah.
hanging on. So
Killed us with long throws again.
yeah,
And then same with Liverpool. They caused problems at the back post for Trent. They just kept targeting Trent, didn't they, with kind of balls in. But interesting to hear about City kind of and their ability to defend set pieces and perhaps even some of those long balls. So that's surprising, actually, because you think of City as perhaps that's a way you can get at them, but clearly not.
yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at some of the games that are going on. We've got a little bit of time until the lineups come out.
He knows.
Let's
God,
do a bit.
imagine if Son's benched.
Well, that's what a few people are saying in the chat, but I don't think
No chance.
there's absolutely no chance.
Do you know
of
what?
that.
He was rested in the EFL Cup as well. So Son was rested, then he played 75 minutes, and now we've got today. Like, I just can't see it. I think he'll play. I think Delhi starts and Lucas might be benched, despite Lucas being amazing. I think he might go 3-5-2, Southampton high line, like the Liverpool game. Let's get him behind the high line.
Well, how's your luck when, like me, bought in Son and just as he's about to go off, he gets that goal from Lucas Moura's cross. I mean, it was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's Lucas Moura really who could be the more at risk because if Conte does switch back to 3-5-2,
And he
which
misses out.
and he misses out because I mean you look at Spurs against Liverpool and Liverpool came at them so they were able to counter attack really well. Less of that against Palace. Palace are a bit more of a defence minded team, more of a possession side, so they switched to get a bit more width. But
Yeah.
I think Southampton is more of a similar game to Liverpool. So it'd be interesting to know if Conte does adjust his tactics, this regularly, or whether he is going to set on one.
Yeah.
Either way, I think Son is a great option this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, let's do some predictions then. So we've got Palace v Norwich in the first game at 3 o'clock. We've had some team leaks, we think,
Yeah. Yeah.
potentially some team leaks around Gallagher not playing, around Guaita coming back into the side again.
Yeah, although I've seen a blue tick since say Guaita's out. So that team leak wasn't accurate because that had Guaita
Okay.
starting, didn't it?
That is very interesting because Mark's transfers very much depended on whether Guaita was fit or not.
Oh
And
no, I don't. I'm pretty sure I've seen a blue tick say he's out.
Before I came on this stream,
Yeah,
Mark was saying he was going to do Ramsdale to De Gea to get a player. But I'm just checking 27 messages in the chat with Mark. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
What did he do? He may have
he's
seen.
panicking.
I saw about 20 minutes ago Guaita out, so he had time to change that, depending on if he had waited so long for his transfers. But yeah, I'd seen that leak and it looked legit. It had no Gallagher in. It was from a forum who's got a good track record. The guy that posted it in the forum had said about Butland starting a few weeks back and was accurate.
Yeah, I think Mark has bought De Gea. I'm
Did
not
he
sure. I'm not sure if he's sold Ramsdale or Guaita. He was talking about selling Ramsdale.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not really sure. I think he might have made another move as well. He's talking about -4. Oh, who knows with Mark? He's probably free it and got Salah back in. It's probably that's the kind of thing you do.
I'm surprised we didn't. I'm delighted that all those of us that went without Salah, me, you, Mark, loads of us, right? I'm delighted to see, despite all the chat, we've stuck with our guns. It was the right move, just to take another hit to bring Salah back for what might only be a week or two, to then maybe have to take a hit to sell him. It just doesn't feel right. I think we've made the right call. I have no doubt we will be punished this evening, but as long as it's short-term punishment, I can live with that.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones. It's why that Havertz, the people who went for Havertz, it's why that was so punishing because there was so many things that had to
That hurts so
fall
bad.
in because you had to have Havertz blanking, you had to have Salah scoring
Oh.
massive, and for that is such a big switch. I mean, again, I think it's I think Son gets something from this Spurs game. I've gone for Foden because I think there's a bigger ceiling with him, but I think Son should get something this Southampton game. So I think if you've got Son in for Salah last week like I did, and you're handing the captaincy to Son, you've got to think you've already got your 8 points from that anyway. You
Yeah.
probably have to take a hit to take him out for Salah, and then you've got potentially some good returns against Southampton as well. So you've got to kind of bear all that in mind. But we can talk the talk, can't we? But realistically, if Salah comes in and gets a hat trick against Leicester, it is going to absolutely ruin us.
It is going to hurt. It is going to hurt unless you've captained Jota and he's involved in those same goals. So if he's getting the assists or the goals for Salah assists and you've captained Jota, the safest bet this week was probably as a non-Salah owner to give your captaincy to Trent or Jota
Yeah.
to try and cover those points where you
It felt a bit like cover, didn't it? That's what I
It
was
felt like
thinking.
cover though, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jota's so key. He has to play every game. Mane and Salah are at the AFCON. So does Jota miss today's game, or does he miss the Chelsea game in 3-4 days' time? I think he misses one of. It doesn't start one of them. I'm edging towards Bobby starts the Chelsea game and Jota's rested for that one, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those. How much kind of because it was interesting talking to Ted because it's been great. Just firstly, just thanks to everyone who's come on this stream. I've been doing this since 12, and we've had I think you're the sixth person we've had on, and I'll definitely do them again. It's been really interesting to have different opinions, different people, and especially so close to the deadline as well, seeing what people are doing and all of that. And like you say, it's interesting that I just picked some, well, not people at random. I sent a message out and kind of whoever was interested kind of came on. But it's interesting that of all the people that have been on, only Neil still had Salah.
Right.
And out of the other 5, none of us have bought Salah back. So clearly, no one's been. There'd been no free hits, for example. I mean, I had 3 Arsenal players, including a goalkeeper. I was tempted. Got to be honest, I was tempted to free hit. I was kind of, in a way, hoping for another game called off.
Yeah.
Just so I
The
could
free
do it.
hit. The free hit seemed like, because I looked at it, but then it just felt like I was purely doing it, and it wasn't, of course, purely for Salah, but it felt like I was purely doing it to bring Salah back for a week.
Oh,
It wasn't a strong
absolutely.
enough reason.
Yeah, the only thing was I really do fancy Lukaku in this match. He was the other.
Do you?
He was the reason. I was saying to Ted as well though. The 3 hits him I put together didn't have Foden in it. And I've captained him. Oh God. Anyway, we got a bit distracted. Right, Palace v Norwich then. So, what do you reckon about this? If Gallagher is out, it's made a bit harder for Palace, I guess. But do you think they should still have enough against Norwich, right?
When you look at that elite lineup and you see, okay, there's no Zaha, there's no potentially Gallagher. 2 of your talisman, they've got injuries still. Like Eze's not back. They've got issues to the point where Mateta, the forward they signed in I think January last year, that's got like 3 or 4 starts, and very likely to be sold in January or go back in January. I think he's on loan. It looks like he's starting, so they do look short of firepower. But you look at Palace and think at home against probably the weakest attack in the league in Norwich. I can just see 3 points Palace, but I don't think there'll be goals galore in that one. I think 1 or 2-0 Palace. But Norwich, the honeymoon period for me is over, isn't it? It's a shame because I wanted Dean Smith to come in and do something, and you just look at the squad there, and he's not got much in terms of resource. It very much is a championship squad. They sell their best players. Wendia went in the summer, of course, and struggled to replace him. So I think Palace win. But FPL interest in that game is so low, isn't it? Without Gallagher.
It is, yeah, and I think Palace defenders are a team that we've been talking about for a while. But when we've got these premium options, Cancelo, Trent, James, and you've got Alonso, even players like Robertson, and it's so hard to look at someone like Mitchell and think, yeah, I'm going to play you enough to to get the most out of you that I can. I mean, he's a decent. I mean, I've got Livramento and Ben Johnson, and if I could choose now, if I was wildcarding, maybe I'd definitely switch one of them. I think to Mitchell, who I think is decent. But
Yeah.
how often really am I gonna play him? So yeah, I'm gonna go for a Palace win as well. Southampton Spurs next. Southampton shock win against West Ham. Didn't see that happening.
Yeah. It was a shock win, but I think West Ham still dominated for periods, and it was Southampton's first win in a while. Now that momentum could carry them well into the Spurs game. You think, oh, Southampton, they've just had a win against, a good team in West Ham. But Spurs look like they're flying at the moment. And I just fancy with that turnaround time, the 48-hour rest, Spurs were able to bring off Kane and Son early, and they've got a deeper squad. Southampton don't have the deep squad, didn't get to rest anyone against West Ham because it went up into the wire. And I think Southampton could be tired. And I think what we know with Ralph Hasenhuttl, he has one way of playing, and that is a defensive high line. And we have seen before Spurs get in behind and score big against that, just like we've seen with Leicester and Vardy. Vardy and Son feast against Southampton at home. Or daddy away guys, it just works for them. So that was my thinking with Son captaincy. So I'm really hoping we see goals there, and surely Son and Kane both return, but Son I fancy even more than Kane for this fixture. This feels like a Son fixture more than a Kane fixture.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? See, I feel funny now because I still want Son to return because he's a relative differential for me. But now I don't want him to go too big because then I'll be regretting not captaining him. It's funny when these things happen. Hang on, just a few things from the chat. Yeah, El Fozzie's in the chat. Neil's the only one with Salah. I know and Neil is the sensible one of all of us, so that says a lot about about that. Dab Munda says, "Why is Az still a cartoon? Am I still hallucinating since Boxing Day? Still hallucinating since Boxing Day? Why were you hallucinating on Boxing Day? That's my question. Were there a few extra ingredients in your turkey sandwich, potentially? I'm a cartoon because my webcam has packed it in, so I'm gonna need to sort that out at some point. Stupid thing. It's because I'm a bit like Mark. I've got all this tech and something goes wrong and it kind of ruins. My mic isn't working either. I'm having to use the headset today as well.
Oh, you sound quite good for a headset, Mike.
Do I? Yeah, it's not bad, this headset actually. I bought it quite a while ago. Yeah, it's not too bad. Right, Watford West Ham. That's our other 3 o'clock game. Get the lineups of these in about 14 minutes.
Loads have gone Antonio, and I know you have, and I don't mind that pick. It's just slim pickings up there, so I can. The default was Antonio, and I don't dislike the move. What I would say is though, don't be necessarily, and I know you're not, blinded by the Antonio goal. It was a tap in from 3 yards. He didn't look in and amongst like the goals and the shots. Saying that, against Watford, for that price, if you're selling a Jimenez or Watkins or whatever, Antonio was the pick. So I think Bowen will start again. A lot of people are worried Bowen won't play twice in 3 days. He played a lot of championship football. He's durable. He's needed on set pieces without Creswell. We know West Ham love those. Moyes loves and puts huge importance on set pieces. So for me, Bowen will start. We'll find out in 10, 12 minutes. But I really hope I get some Bowen returns. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Antonio returns too. They win that game, surely.
Yeah, I mean, if I could pick one out of Bowen and Antonio, I'd be picking Bowen all day long. It's just, again, it comes down to your team and how easy it is. I mean, I could potentially have sold Smith Rowe for Bowen. But again, it was just the fact that Antonio came off the bench, and I think he's almost certainly going to start in 12 minutes. Whereas there is just that, I think Bowen's like 75% going to start. I think Mark makes a good point that Bowen's played in the Championship. They play games like this all the time, and he's come through that. So I would be surprised if Bowen missed out. Then again, West Ham do have options. Ben Rama can come back in potentially. It's interesting though, Ranieri spoke about Watford and said they've had 2 days of training, and says that they're just basically completely not ready for this match at all, which always bodes well.
Still don't know who's had COVID, do we, Az? I don't think it's been... So there might be some surprises. Like, I think they obviously had a lot of players out. So, yeah, yes, some of those will have returned, but there might still be some big COVID cases that haven't been announced there.
Yep. Nuclear Atoms says, as Simpson doing better than regular as, wish he appeared in the FPL shows. And with that, Nuclear Atoms loses his moderation privileges. So, it was a good run, Nuclear, but yeah, shame for that. Ash Brainos, a very good question. Why is Gianni considered an expert? Can someone explain, please? Do you want to take that one, Gianni?
It's definitely the hair, mate. Definitely the hair. It's definitely not the rank history, it's the hair. Oh, and the fact that I've written an award-winning FPL book, maybe. Oh, yes, he did.
Have you got it to hand?
Oh, it's just out of reach. I'll have to take the headset out, so I won't do it to you.
Oh,
Although maybe that's a good thing.
the first
Yeah, it's.
time, the first time anyone's actually asked you to get the book out and you can't even reach
No.
it.
I've had a tidy up in this room, as you may have seen. So like the books are stacked now. My wife's like, "Come on, sort this room out. You've got a week off work." So pool tables come in, but it's all very tidy. So
I
very
can't believe
minimalist.
it's the same room.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the old TV stand with the shirts hanging on the back is a thing of the past. Been and gone.
I'm
That's in
pre-
the garage. I need a new home for that.
I'm pretty jealous you got a pool table. I definitely couldn't fit one in here. I don't know why I'm looking. It is very nice. Luke, I was out of topic. As how much makeup do you need for the FPL show? Oh, very fun. That's Gianni's spreading this narrative. Although to be fair, they do give me a lot of makeup. I think it's
It was when they said to you, "Do you want to wipe at the end of the show?" And then you went, "Now leave it on."
I'd black box later, so I wanted to look my best.
It's amazing. You look 5 years younger after
I
off
know.
the back of them finishing with you.
Have you seen these new ones it's called War Paint? They've given it like the most masculine name ever. It's like men's makeup.
I've not seen
See
that.
that? Yeah, have a look at War Paint. They're
Oh, you've been googling it, have you?
Oh, well, you know, it comes up every now and then. Got some shares. I think it's going to be the next big thing.
Oh yeah, the next Bitcoin.
Next Bitcoin, yeah, exactly. War. I just love that it's called War Paint. Like, let's give it the most masculine name we can possibly give it.
Yeah, that is funny.
If they called it
That
like
is great.
unicorn dust, I think maybe they might not have sold so many. Just another bit of news: Barcelona have completed the signing of Ferran Torres, which 46.7 million up front. I don't know where they've got that money from, considering all the amount of problems they've got. A further 8.5 million coming in add-ons. I mean, they're buying an injured player to add to their squads.
I do like the transfer though. I do like it. I honestly do. I know they're getting stick for the amount they're paying, but we forget Ferran Torres is like the same age as Foden. He's a kid. He's proper young. I don't know.
I rate him really highly. I just for Barcelona to be buying a player for £50 million, like you know, in
the payments must be spread. Like they can't afford it, surely, or they'd have kept Messi if they had the money in the bank.
Well, I'm sure I read somewhere that they were struggling because they would have had to have offloaded some players to sign it. I mean, you know, they couldn't even register some of their players in the summer. They couldn't give Messi a new contract. Aguero couldn't come in. They had to get rid of, like Griezmann, for example. So
that's get him off the wage bill. I think that this does mean there will be a max exodus at Barcelona in January, with some of those names coming to the Prem. Dembele, Coutinho, these guys' wages will be way in. Like, I don't know, let's say Coutinho's on 300 grand a week. I bet Ferran Torres, despite the high transfers, on modest wages at like 80k. So they can balance the books by just offloading a few of those big names in Jan, which no doubt they'll be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there must be some method to it. I'm not, you know, they've also got a loan from somewhere. It's just an interesting transfer. I wasn't expecting Barcelona to be making £50 million transfer moves for quite a while until they kind of sorted themselves out. So yeah, I'm surprised by that. But interesting with Torres going as well. I mean, you know, we've got so many players competing for these spots, and Torres almost had the kind of number one role at the start of the season until he got injured. So
the number one, number nine, wasn't he? And for Spain, he's the number one, number nine. Like and for Barca, he no doubt will be. You know, they've got players like Depay, who's not an out and out nine. Luke De Jong, who's naff. He'll go back to Seville or wherever he came from.
Yeah.
I'm excited for team news, mate. We've got 7 minutes.
7 minutes to go. Yeah, 7 minutes to go. I know.
It's 7 minutes to see Son benched.
Well, let's just chat a few about some of the other fixtures quickly. I mean, Leicester Liverpool. I think we're both expecting the worst. I can't really see any way in which Salah doesn't get something from this game, given how Leicester report. I mean, Leicester have even got a weakness down Salah's side of the pitch as well. All the signs point to. I mean, if Amity and Vestergaard step up again, it could be 4 or 5-0, I think.
It's Luke Thomas at left back as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like Thomas, Amity, and Vestergaard. Salah should feast.
He should. It's going to be bad. I think Leicester score. I've been saying it throughout this stream. I think Leicester can get a goal of this. I think Maddison will get something.
Is that why you didn't consider Trent? Because I didn't consider Trent either, but I saw a lot go Trent or consider Trent.
Yeah. Oh, Mehul's a Salah triple captain. Don't say that. I wonder what damage it's actually gonna be. When FPL updates, I'll go on live FPL and just see how bad it's gonna be when Salah does deliver. But yeah. What about Chelsea Brighton then?
Yeah.
So that's tomorrow. I'm fearing the worst in this. I think Lukaku starts. He was
Yes.
fantastic, wasn't he, when he came on against Villa?
Oh, it was so good seeing him turn and run like that. Like that's the Lukaku we signed from Inter. That's the Lukaku we saw loads in Italy. We didn't see that Lukaku at United, which is why fans were like, "Oh, is he the right signing? Is he an elite player?" But when you see him bully defenders like that, he was winning that ball and he was winning that penalty, and he's just so clever. Weirdly enough, the only other player that looks like he can do that as a number 9 in the Premier League, if we go off last weekend or last game week, was Brozier, did exactly the same. And I was like, oh my God, this is like Lukaku 2.0. But yeah, Lukaku definitely, the header was brilliant. He just looks, Chelsea need him. We're having to play Pulisic false 9 in the first 45.
Oh, he was awful.
That was it was a weird move. Like Pulisic is no false 9. He's played wing back, sure.
Yeah.
He can be versatile, but false 9 and then he went and played wing back. The poor bloke, like it's just not his position.
Have you seen that? There's a video going around in America. You know, one of those like porn stars videos where you take stuff. Not that porn stuff. The porn stuff where you take stuff in and sell it. Dirty mind.
Oh,
Jenny.
okay, yeah. I got you.
Dirty
Took me a
mind.
while.
He takes in a framed signed thing of Pulisic. And he's talking about him, but the way he talks about him just shows that he's got absolutely no real knowledge of Pulisic at all. He describes him as an out and out striker who can also play at centre mid, and then says that he's been likened to Messi, which is
amazing.
Quite a claim. I really like Pulisic. I think a couple of seasons ago when he was banging them in, he was great, but his career's kind of stagnated a bit, isn't it?
Injuries, just needs to run in games, and he needs to set position. It was under Lampard, I think. He had at one spell he had a set position. He was scoring every week, and I was like, "Wow, he's our match winner loads." I remember a game at I think Selhurst Park, we scored the winner. But yeah, he just needs to stay fit, doesn't he? Like was same with many of those players. They just need consistency. They've not had it, but I like him. But yeah, he's definitely no number 9. Christ, but I'm glad Lukaku's in because he will start now. He got a 45-minute run out. Brighton, who. Yeah, we saw at the end of that game against Brentford, like that Brighton defence can be bullied at the right times, and I just wonder if Lukaku can have a little run now.
I just don't really see how we can stop him. I mean, Duffy wasn't even on the bench in the last game. He's kind of our most physical defender. Dunk's our best defender. He's not in the team. I think when I watch Lukaku playing, and exactly like you say, when he gets the ball and he drives forward. He is, he takes some stopping, doesn't he? He's so fast, so strong. He can actually finish as well.
Yeah, beast. He just employs beast mode. Like he's unstoppable. There are very few 9s certainly in the Premier League that can do that. I can't think of one that can play that perhaps is as complete as him. The criticism is the heavy touch or the finishing, but I actually don't think I think that's a common misconception. I think we will see in the next 12 to 18 months a complete striker there.
Yeah.
Looks like Son starts, by the way.
Son starts, yeah. We got Tim who's coming in 3 minutes, but yeah, I don't think anyone's surprised to see that Son starts. Gaurav says COVID outbreak at Burnley. I hope not. Just brought the hair in. Yeah, not more. Again, what can you do if there is? All you can do is make transfers and not try and think too much about these postponements. If teams have got the outbreaks, then obviously you can choose to kind of not target players playing them. I think the Everton Newcastle was a game that I might otherwise have thought about bringing in a player or two from. There may be a Damari Gray or Pickford, or take a punt on Calvert-Lewin.
I looked at Pickford because it allowed me to keep Ramsdale if I sold Foster to Pickford because he's 4.9. But I just thought that fixture seems too risky now.
It does. It does, and I mean Newcastle. If ever there's going to be a game called off, it's surely going to be that one. I've got some good news for you, Gianni. By the way, which fantasy football scout guest on this stream will get the most points this week? Karam came bottom with 7%, Pras 20%, Neil 26%, Gianni 45% of the votes.
Come on, that's what we did. Wait a sec.
I thought you were grabbing the book.
Do you know what it is? Everyone feels sorry for me because someone called me out for not being like a pro pundit, or maybe just because I'm the one that's currently on. It was going to be whoever was currently on. But thank you, guys. That's not just a win. That's head and shoulders.
I know that is. I mean, only 200 votes as well. It's it's not
Thanks,
a
guys.
tiny sample. So yeah, well done.
No, my problem is every week, like my team looks really good, and then it just doesn't deliver to elite levels. Az texted me this morning saying, "Oh, your team looks really good this week." I said, "Az, we have this conversation every week. On paper, my team always looks fabulous. It just doesn't get the top 10k ranks, but whatever."
I like that Ted isn't even mentioned on that poll. He's so low down that I think it's probably more to the fact that there's only a certain amount of options you can put in, but it's fun.
You can only put 4, can you? You can probably only do 4.
Probably
Yeah.
only do 4, yeah. Right, it's 1 minute till team news. I'm sure there's going to be loads of stuff coming from the chat. I get my team news from Twitter. I get the official lineups, from the thing. So I'm currently on the Spurs page. I think they schedule them, so bang on 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
It'll come through.
I'll get Southampton up because I think
Lovely
there will
stuff.
be heavy rotation there, because there's a small squad playing twice in 3 days. I'll keep refreshing I do that. I just keep refreshing the official Twitter page. And then obviously we will have eyes on West Ham too. I've got Southampton. Shane Long starts. Adam Armstrong starts. Brozier is benched.
Bro's benched. Yeah, I thought he might be.
Not surprised. Yeah.
No.
The back 4, though, is 3 of the 4 are the same. So we do have Walker-Peters, Bednarak and Salisu for Son. But instead of Livramento, who is not in the squad, it's Romain Perraud, the young French fullback. So Livramento, not in the squad, that must be an injury.
Well, there is a very, very high chance that I need Livramento. He's first on my bench. And also he's been brilliant for Southampton. So that really is a...
Yeah.
So can you read the full Southampton squad?
Yeah, so we've got Fraser Foster in goal. The back 4, as I said, is Walker-Peters, Bednarak, Salisu, and Perraud. I can never pronounce his name. Midfield, you've got Diallo, Ward-Prowse. Oh, and Valerie. So it looks like it might be a back 5 with Valerie playing, because that's 3 fullbacks in the squad.
He hasn't played much at all this season.
Yeah, unless he's playing Valerie as a winger, but it looks like he might have had a change in formation, or maybe Valerie is playing as a winger. Then you've got Stuart Armstrong behind Long and Armstrong. So Elianusi, who's been playing really well, rested. Redmond, who's been a starter, rested. Brozier, starter, rested. Walcott rested. So, there's heavy... Romeo rested. Big rotation there. This is very much a second string Southampton.
Very much a good... Should have stuck with Son, I think. Spurs game. A few people in the chat saying Son's benched. Absolute rubbish. Son is not benched. He's in the starting lineup. There's just one change for Spurs. It's Loris in goal. Emerson Royale. Sanchez Dyer. Ben Davies comes back in for Tanganga. And Regulon. There's Yeah, he's back. Højbjerg, Winks and Dele, which I think is... Winks has been revelation under Conte. And it's back to 2 up top with Son and Kane, so no Mora.
We called that. We did say that we thought it'd be a 3-5-2 and Dele instead of Lucas, but yeah, great. By the way, for West Ham, Antonio starts and Bowen starts.
Right, let's have a look at the West Ham team. So
you've got Johnson as well. Yeah, go on.
Johnson plays. Well, I really need that. So that'd be a nice 2 points. Fabianski in goal. It's Soufal, Dawson, Diop, and Johnson. Noble and Souček, because Rice is suspended. So Noble coming in. Oh my God, how could Noble still be playing?
Noble that means he'll be on pens though.
It does. Yeah, it does indeed. Lanzini took one, didn't he? Noble missed his last one, I think. Might see Lanzini take it. Bowen starts with Ben Rama and Lanzini and Antonio. So not huge. Yeah, Masuaku's out, which I think a lot of people predicted. He doesn't seem to be very good at left back. I think. Yeah, and with Rice out, it's obvious that they were going to bring someone in, and that's Noble. So they're playing Watford, who've had so many issues, particularly with COVID lately. Their team is... I hate it when the lineups are like this. And Mehul says no King for Watford, which isn't true, because that's exactly what I thought straight away. Because I looked at the lineup and it says Backman first and then King. Like King's at right back, which of course he isn't.
Oh, I hate that they've done it in number order.
They do it in number order, yeah. So
because we don't know half their squad, it's
exactly
really difficult.
Yeah. So the team for Watford and King does start. So stop saying that he doesn't. It's Backman in goal. It's King, Messina, Cathcart, Tufan, Sissoko, captain, Kiko Firmina, Dennis, Hernandez, Serralta, and Kuka. So they're pretty much full strength, really.
Yeah.
Looks like King out on the left, Dennis through the middle. There's no one.
Still no Foster in the squad though, as I know he returned to training last week, so he might be back for that double game week in 22, which could be cool for those looking to bench boost. But yeah, we want to see him in the squad first. I don't know who's number 1 yet. We still don't know. Backman might keep his place.
Yep. Absolutely. And moving over to Palace. So the leaked lineup was wrong. It was right in the sense
Ooh.
that Gallagher does not play. He's not even on the bench. So there's probably some truth to the fact that there's some COVID-related issues for him. But Guaita does start. So the league lineup had Butland in it, but Guaita is in the starting 11. It's Ward, Gay, Anderson, Mitchell, Coyote at centre mid, out of position. I had a look at him on the free hit. Hughes and
Okay.
Schlupp, which is like a very strange midfield. Coyote, Hughes,
That's a
and
weird
Schlupp,
midfield three, that.
isn't it? Ayew, Edouard, and it means no worries. Mateta up top on his own with Edouard
It's weird because
flanking.
Milivojevic is on the bench, and so is Ryder Vireld, both who have played at times very well in midfield. But Hughes has been playing well, but maybe he just wants Kouyate in there for his physical presence. I don't know. So weird midfield three that with Schlupp, Hughes, and Kouyate. I bet they've never played together as a three.
No, it's weird. I really like Coyote as a player.
Yeah, he's solid, isn't he?
Schlupp, I've got good memories of when
At
Leicester.
Leicester.
Yeah, it was before Leicester won the league the year before when they went on that crazy run and avoided relegation. I had Schlupp in my team and he got an assist on the final day and it won me a mini league. I won about 600 quid, I think.
Ooh.
Back in the days when
We were allowed to bet.
back in the days when you could have a cash mini league and not violate the terms and conditions. Just get that in now in case anyone thinks I'm still in any cash
Oh,
leagues.
no Pookie. Sorry
Yep,
to interrupt.
I was just
I've
going to
seen
read.
the Norwich team.
Yep, just
Go
going to
on,
read to the Norwich team. The big news is no Pookie. It's Gunn in goal, so no Krul. Ginulis, Gibson, Sorensen, and Byram. That is not a particularly inspiring back four, is it?
Brandon Williams can't get in the team.
I know. Williams on the bench. That's going to annoy a few people who are relying on him. Sargent as well, not playing. It's Gilmore, McLean, Lees Malou, Tzolis, Ida, and Placheta. Got to be honest, I don't know much about most of these players. Tzolis, Ida, and Placheta, I can honestly say I have not seen any of them play this season.
I think Placheta is quite good, and I think they paid a good amount of money for him, but I might be wrong there. I think he's Polish. I think he was meant to be the Wendia replacement in that sort of attacking three. But other than that, yeah, Adia's a kid. They haven't even got Sargent playing. Because you think
Sargent's on the bench.
You think Sargent would be playing, yeah.
You think he'd be there marshalling the young troops, right?
Yeah.
See what I did there?
I like that.
Thank you. Right, that's your lineups. I'm going to call it. I've been on this for 2 hours. I'm going to go have some lunch. Thanks everyone who's enjoyed the stream. Make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you follow all the guests too. Their Twitter handles are all in the windows, so you can go back and watch the stream. But it's been really, really good. I'm sorry my webcam hasn't been working, but most of you have said you preferred it like this anyway, so I don't think it's been a big problem. Gianni, it's been a pleasure as always. I'll see you soon for another team reveal. But until then, enjoy the football and Happy New Year.
Thank you, mate. Cheers for everyone in the chat as well. Thanks for your interaction today and for supporting the channel as always. Like and subscribe, all that jazz. But as fair play, mate, you've done 2 hours 15 or 2 hours 10. That is a very good effort. So we'll see you and everyone else very soon. But thank you, mate.
No problem at all. It's been a lot of fun. Just a quick shout out to Russell Baker for a super chat right at the end, who's saying I was watching beach football once and thought it'd be perfect for Riederwald. Palace fan here. Sorry, Palace fan. Come on, Russell. That's not the team that you should be supporting. Although
he's a good player, Ryder Vireld. I was working at Palace when he was signed, and Frank de Boer brought him in because Frank de Boer was like, "I want this Dutchie in the middle of the field." But yeah, he just hasn't had the game time, and I feel like he was getting it a few months back, and he played well, but didn't happen.
No, I know. I have to say, I do like Palace more under Vieira than I have done under Hodgson. I think I had in my early season predictions I had Palace to get relegated, although I normally do, to be fair. But they really have surpassed. I mean, they had a whole rebuild, didn't they? So they have done really well, and I imagine they're going to win today against this Norwich